We're live. Well, hello, everyone. Hey,
Are we live?
we are live. Yes.
We are.
Are we live?
Yes, we are. Are we ready to lead it in, Brennan, with a little bit of shilling announcements and welcomes to all our nice people? Also, I should add the Discords. That's what I should do first. How are we all doing today?
We should. We're good.
We're good.
I'm practicing.
Yeah, you're practicing. I know. It's good to practice. I hope it's gonna be a good time. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm gonna finish typing these up. So in that ways, let's just give a little bit of introductions and stuff like that. We're gonna go in reverse this time. Chad, let me introduce yourself.
Well, hi, I'm Chad. I have done the art for today's PC, who clearly is an ant. Obviously. Obviously.
Obviously.
I also did a lot of art for the background characters. And I'm just happy to be here. You can support me by going to my Patreon. Oh, Zogo, thank you for the subs.
Oh, thank you so much. Next up, Brennan.
We are Brennan. We can be found at youtube.com/JiboVT, and we are playing the Bug. We are excited to be Bug.
We're very excited to be Bug. Oh, and we have a wonderful camera person with us today, which is us. We are the camera as well.
We are also
we are the camera.
But thank goodness the aspect of ourselves that is Aloha is not here.
He's lurking. Be careful. But who else is here? The aspect of ourselves that is me, the GM, is here, and we're going to give you a bit of a rundown of a few different things we've got going on. So today we've got Daisuisen Session 3, which is standalone. You don't need to watch any of the other ones to enjoy it. And it's made possible due to a number of people's help. For the first point, there's 2-minute tabletop and dungeon draft, which I used to make a lot of the maps, including Ori the cartographer, who helped provide a bunch of pre-mades. I got most of my stuff from buying from them. I'd heavily recommend going and checking them out. We've also got Monichi, who did the title card you're looking at right now, and a lot of animated assets. They've been doing the title cards for everything, which is great. Go support her too. And finally, the music track you're listening to right now is from Zephysonis on Twitter. They have done this track and a few other tracks you'll hear in here, but also mainly like the main theme. And there was one more thing. I have a Patreon, and I have mini RPs and teasers for stuff that I put on that Patreon. You would have seen a bit of Brennan's player character if you had checked out there. And a bit after this session ends, probably sometime Sunday, I'm going to be posting the next one for the next character for next week, which also stick around after fan art to see a little teaser of them. But yeah, that's just about everything, I'd say. That's all of our shills. That's all we have.
But it's all we need.
It is all we need, because we're ready to go. Let's see. Okay. So, I'll get us ready really quick. After all, we need to think back. We've just learned what it meant to think. We are curious what this means. And so we've reflected. We've reflected to the very first moment, at which we now see playing out within memory in front of us. We remember a time when we were one. We were simply traveling, moving across to make a new colony. We, who is the queen, was once moving across, finding their way through this strange land. Many, many ferns, grass, dirt, all of these things which others trod upon every day, we moved across like a vast landscape, a jungle, searching across, ready to find rest, ready to form new life. We move, we find our way, yet we moving across with single purpose in mind. All we wished for was to find something, something that echoes across our mind. That will of the single queen. It pinged. It pinged off the world. For something hanging just within this space, right around this time, it heard. This was the very first thing that made us realize that we were in fact alive. A glow. Something transfixed us, for it appeared in a vision that was not quite like anything we'd ever seen before. We saw its form shift around, and as we looked, we simply had one desire, that which was delivered to us from our very birth. We approached. It felt correct. It felt like something that would help. And then as we approached, we noticed something. Shifting around, moving ever so slightly. We looked upon ourselves, and we noticed we were different. We were not quite sure what we saw through these new eyes, but we did know we saw through many. For at this point, we saw the world. And as time passes, we would see through many, many more eyes. Meanwhile, weeks passing, we, who are known as the Great and Famous, are traveling across the land. Our feet press against the dirt, moving across this landscape as we seek a different view, a different place to call. What is it? We do not have an idea of what this concept is. All the same, we who are great and famous has greater understanding than us. They understand what their job is. They are here to work, to ply their craft, much the same as we once sought to make a colony. We once sought to use our fangs and talons to carve away at flesh. We who are great and famous seeks to mend the soul, as it would. We step up. Excuse me, ma'am?
Yes, hello. Are, oh, you're the great Suisen.
Uh, we seem exasperated at such a name. Though that is what we are, we seem to be somewhat perplexed by the way this is used. It is confusing. All the same, our curious aspect once more engages. Yes, that is me. Are you okay?
No, my child hasn't returned. He went out to the forest, and it's only been a few days, but he's never usually out for this long, especially not without some kind of notice.
We who are great and famous moves up, kind of standing next and sort of taking a spot along with the logs. I understand. I have received reports of something going on in the area, and I will check it out for you. I just need you to tell me, was anything strange happening in the area beforehand? Kids get lost in the woods all the time, but if there's anything that can help me, then I'd appreciate any knowledge you have.
Well, I'm not sure if this is some kind of natural phenomenon, but I remember seeing a pack of animals. But it was less of a pack of deer or wolves, and more like the forest moving as one.
We reach into our pack, pulling out a book that hangs at her side. Hang on one moment then. A pack of animals roaming in the woods? And you mean to say that there was no aggression between wolves, deers, or anything that lurked within the forest?
No. There was also that statue that went missing.
Statue, huh? All right. We take some time, flipping through the pages, looking across for at least 5 minutes. This concept of time is rather new as well, counting it in such minute detail. All the same, we can tell, at least, it was around this point. All right. I think I might have an answer. I'll look into it. I'm going to need to take a look myself, though. I can promise you, I'm going to do my best.
Please, if you see my child, please tell him to come home.
He gives a solemn nod. I'll get your Rita back, don't worry.
Thank you.
We who are great and famous take a deep, exhausted breath, full of anxious energy that does not befit a legend such as himself. We move down, checking either way. Oh boy. Ruru. I hope I can manage this one. He looks down at a page. A very, very, very worrisome tale. One that has never ended cleanly. All the same, we who are great and famous come to parley with us, to speak within the woods once again. As we move about, we who are great and famous also find our path to the woods themselves. Stepping up that strange pathway forged out by the people, those of us with 2 legs, much like the one we found. He moves across this landscape and eventually comes to meet us. We step up. Checking on either side, it seems as though the forest landscape itself is... It seems clear to us that it is quieter. Timid, almost. But as we step deeper into the woods, we start to hear more of the sounds that run about it. We understand that this land, all the same, is teeming with life. Teeming with life that seems disconnected from the whole, yet still it lives. Moving across, deeper into these woods, we who are great and famous are covered by the shadow of the canopy. And soon, night begins to fall as well. As we move, we head deeper into these woods. The woods surrounding that settlement that was once known as something or other. We feel as though there's some difficulty with the name. This new concept, the way we think, this understanding. All the same, there's something new to us we are still parsing. Something different. And whatever this town is, the differentiation between these towns, that settlements, much like our colonies, but different. We do not usually name our colonies. And the reason that we who are disconnected would is confusing to us. But we return our vision to we who are great and famous, stepping up and about the forest. We do not understand why he seems so different in the night. Why does he seek us so deep into the dark when the kind of his does not seem to function with this level of darkness. It is obvious his eyes cannot peek further into the woods. The form is now frightened. All the same, we who are great and famous proceeds deeper, underneath a large canopy that flanks over a cliffside. We check a statue point, the point of one of our greatest ascensions. Yet we who are great and famous does not seem to understand the significance of this point at first. We seem confused, and so... Ooh! Though, as time passes, we inspect the area. We look across, and we start to catch ourselves up to our current understanding that we all share. It is true that we who are great and famous is separate. All the same, we seem to be catching up and understanding what this point means to us. This was a statue that we claimed for our own. It, like a part of us, though not sentient, absolutely consists of our form. We inspect this spot, seeming to grow more and more nervous, for some reason that is beyond us. It was about this point that we grew curious. The rest of us were so curious about what was up with him that we decided to get a peek. As we gazed, looking at the figure standing near the statue, we turned and faced each other, a connection of our eyes together, staring forward. We seemed perplexed, and our expression changed. A friendly one, though still full of anxiousness, moving silently and carefully. We were curious about this, and for some reason or another, we stopped, looking forward as... You're not... a confusion? We decided to withdraw for now. Moving ourselves away, we pulled back into the deep of the woods. And we, who are great and famous, decided to follow, moving directly across, following up these roads, bringing the form he carries with him. As we step up the path even further, we begin moving into the land which grows mountainous. A spot which we met our mother. A spot which has, throughout many of our lives, acted as a safe refuge. A home for all of us. We make our way up to this mountain range. Our steps, singular in this case, moving across a beaten path, guided by glowing hair and frail eyes that cannot see well in the dark. We stop, standing in this central mountain way. As we gaze around, yes, we seem... This aspect of ourself, seems to be aware of the rest. Though in this case, not in the way of having a shared mind or body, yet in the more natural way, as a predator would once gaze across the landscape, seeking prey. All the same, this predator seems to be afraid, which is also somewhat strange. We who hunt with claws and tooth usually do not feel this level of fear when we prepare on the hunt. And, as we who are great and famous checks around, that aspect witnesses upon the cliff edge a form. A statue that, for all intents and purposes, we who are great and famous does not expect to be standing on that cliff edge. It should not be there. It is moved. Yet, this statue has not been moved, yet the statue itself moves. and prepares to move again, as shaking, shifting on the cliff edge. This thing moves just a little bit more. The statue and all who reside within it begins to shift and shake. A snake crawling out of a joint. A toad, a frog, simply resting within the mouth. Ants crawling and peeking from eye holes like visors to gaze out at the world from their safe carapace. The queen resting upon the top. This form positions itself, and along with it, it's staring down. Another one appears, standing carefully, though precariously at its side. This one, blessed with a voice. Hello? Who's...
We look down upon this one. Disconnected, but incandescent. We have not interacted with this one before, correct?
No, we have not.
Yet still we know him.
Yes, we do. We have heard a name that travels across the wind. An aspect that is so much more infamous than any of us. One that would even question perhaps being more true to us than others if it is more well known.
We stand still, unaware of how to proceed.
The figure below speaks up. You can you can all come down. It's quite fine. As you can see, the only arms I have are the two right here, and no real way to hurt.
They killed me.
Hang on.
Thanks.
Would you like to come down? Would we like to come down?
Would we like to come down?
It would be better than yelling all this distance, I suppose. If you have such an interest in that, we could speak from here. It's quite fine. My name is Suisen. I come from land abroad, from this one. Still, are you aware of the concept of a country?
We know.
Okay,
who
then
you
yes.
are.
Oh, all right. Well, yes, I am from Mitsudai, and so are you. So, in a way, I would hope we share some kinship tonight, and perhaps would be able to share a moment, if that would be okay.
Kinship.
Yes. Much in the same way I would imagine. He kind of gestures, looking across at we who are small with voice. If it would be okay, he kind of sits down. I have food. He puts down a pack. It seems as though this connected aspect pulls out food. A collection of rice? Yes. Rice, some grains, some leaves, and a little bit of meat, too. More of
We
how...
must consider, in a world that is one, why distinguish what is kin and not kin?
He considers for a moment. I suppose you would have a point. It's time to eat. Let us all eat together.
And then we who inhabit the statue pick up we who has the mouth. And we leap down together.
Along with that, more of our eyes appear along the edge. We all gaze down at food assembled. And, much the same, we all take a moment to climb down and surround this aspect of ourselves. Well, we understand that each and all of us have different appetites and stomachs, and thus I've got a big selection of food for all of us. The we who are little approaches from behind, pulls at the shoulder a little bit, peeks over to the side, pulls a fruit and starts chewing on it, and then turns over to the statue. It seems all of it good food.
We are confused.
What are we confused about?
An aspect of ourselves of such great renown that uses a separate name, separate from ourselves, but seems less arrogant than the aspect of ourselves that is our mother. Why?
Aspect of yourself that's your mother, huh? Oh, perhaps would you be able to describe that aspect to me first? Perhaps I will know more once I am connected in a way with this aspect.
This aspect of ourself is tall, like us, beautiful, and possibly sick.
The aspect of ourselves named Suisen releases a big sigh. Despite being unconnected, it seems to be the correct reaction. Yes, I've met that one. A troublemaker, the god of misfortune. I see. And she is the aspect that is your mother, correct? So in that way, she came before and created you?
Yes, if that is to be considered misfortune, then we are thankful for this misfortune.
He considers. Yeah, I'm a bit thankful for that one too. Regardless.
And we should have no problem breaking bread.
Absolutely not. All the same, I am disconnected from you. How do we even start on this? You asked me a question earlier. Let's start there again. What were you curious about?
You separate from us. There's a different name. There's a reputation known across the world. Why do you consider yourself separate from us?
Well, I can tell you surely that my separation from you has began way before I was known as the Great Suisen. Once more, a pang within that pronunciation. My fame has no bearings, but simply, I am me, as I would put it. I am Suisen. I was born and existed prior to you, and through that vein, I have always been me.
The statue steps forward and sits down at where the food is placed, not needing food itself, but all the aspects of ourselves that does begin to partake.
Nice. The aspect who is great and famous seems a bit relieved as the kid begins eating once more, looking across, still obviously nervous and unsettled. I am Suisen because that's who I am, I suppose. And all the same, you all are... May I be introduced?
You are who you are. We are all, including you. We are just disjointed and disconnected.
He considers putting this thought in his head, and
Why does this make you uneasy?
Oh, I... He stops. You should please understand. I am uneasy now. It's... I am... This, A smile falls across his lips. I am afraid of the dark. That is an aspect of me that is different from all of you.
We see. You are the aspect of ourselves that is afraid of the dark.
Uh, I suppose so, yes. That would be true enough. Here, hang on.
Do
This
you
as-
fear because you only see with your eyes?
Considering, I'm not quite sure why I fear. I suppose that would make enough sense. After all, it would be something tied into what I am. This aspect of my body, it comes from being human, you understand?
We do understand what it is to be human.
He glances over at the child. Right. Some time passes while he's doing this, and finally, with a crack, you notice this man does something that you've never seen before. You had noticed how he was assembling around the fire, around the food, a point, some rocks, digging a bit into the ground. It was a curious thing, though. As you glanced, you noticed that it seems to light. This one creates spark. Yet another different thing that this one is able to do. As suddenly, a fire emits. You know fire, but such a small thing created by this one has not been seen by any. You are aware of fire and how it is used, but seeing one simply spark up is so rare to you. This one, the aspect that can talk, has only seen fires brewn within iron contraptions back within that settlement. And as this one huddles around the fire, they seem, for a moment, to calm themselves, until a bit of the light reflecting on their face seems to limit the light upon their hair as they assemble themselves in front of everyone. It's still a bit unnerving, but at least this will help.
This is interesting to us.
The fire?
No. We, who is afraid of the dark, the aspect of ourself that fears, controls fire, in which to control the dark.
He nods his head. Yes, we have learned to control fire to help us against the dark, and in order to better prepare us for the darkness that, well, the world exists in within half of its time. We've also used fire to cook meats, to help bring out flavor and burn away sickness.
And it is fear that is giving you this power.
No, actually. It probably exists for more than just fear. I learned it in order as a skill to better help me protect myself, to better grant me food. But when I learned it, I felt nothing for it. At the time, it was just a skill I was picking up like any other. As a child, I had no understanding. This was born of pure intellectual curiosity, even though its purpose was to grant me safety. I'm curious. You, all of you, have you felt such intellectual curiosities? And before we answer, I'm going to say now, as a little introduction here, let us both get into the mechanics a little bit. We're going to both roll the die right now. Which means we have our 3 attribute stats, each with the d6 tied to them, and we're going to roll all 3 at once and select one. And this way, Daisuisen's going to select that big number. So you can lock in a swing by taking in one of those stats, and the color will change. So whatever you want to lock in that best fits this intellectual pursuit. Yes, I thought so. all of you gaze,
We
all
all
of your
do.
minds twisted and changing, as you gaze at this one, who yet feels different than you right now. So, tell me, that quandary falls across you. You have thought? Has such intellectual curiosities come to you as well?
We must consider. Thinking is new to us, is it not?
It is. We have not found thought so recently. Only within the past couple of weeks, really.
Interesting.
We are new to thought. It is a new concept that has been recently introduced to us. We have been blessed by it. And it has given us the ability to understand, to learn, to make ourselves better.
I see. In that way, you have acquired the fruit of sapience, I suppose. Understanding your life, understanding all the things about it, and being able to think. You started to taste, I suppose, philosophy.
Explain sapience.
Right. Sapience is an understanding of your world and surroundings, at least by my understanding of the term. It is, by nature, an understanding of the soul, the mind, the body. In this way, you are, like me, capable of thought, capable of thinking about your world and yourself and a level beyond what your emotions feel.
Explain self.
I see. We consider this fact, we who are great and famous, and we are going to try and impress now. We're going to roll to do really, or actually, it's not really making an argument yet. So, we move up, and standing next to the fire, we pull a little instrument from our side, which appears to be a digging implement, and we start carving onto the floor. It takes a second, but we see it on the ground. Carved in great letters, as it is. A word. That's right, a word. Those things. Things we understand, but have not seen, actually, until now. This is new to us. Can you
We are
understand what this
intrigued.
is?
We who inhabit the statue moves closer.
All right. You do so. You gaze down, and you notice, and something that is quite, you notice scrawled out into the dirt, a letter. And you have never seen letters written. However, you understand this. You can read this out. And beyond that, you can see it clearly is very well written. The word language is laid out in front of the fire. Do you know what this word means?
We have not seen this word. However, we understand.
Yes. See, this, he kind of goes down and then kind of points at the word. Language in its own right is a gift. Something that we have, we as the concept of humanity, and something that you were granted as well. All of you. Granted a mixed sapience together, but also granted, you were granted language. At a deeper level, you were able to think. You were granted words within the mind that allowed you to place those thoughts and understand those things. That is what is so new, along with the combined intelligence of every single person here. The whole combines together to increase the power of the many. Some concepts unique to some, provided to others. As you grabbed that one, pointing to the person to the side, the aspect of us granted a voice, that one probably helped fill in the final gaps. the final understanding.
We understand. The
No.
ability to think deeply, to consider, to meditate.
Yes.
We gain this ability when the aspect of ourselves with mouth and vocal cords return to us.
Did you have any thoughts prior to that? Self-reflections, otherwise?
So, that word again.
That, yes. He, stopping, reconsidering. How about this? Have your collective ever asked yourself a question?
We must consider. When we awoke, the one, our queen, she considered, the first to consider. She thought. But I does not suit us. I alone is but a part of the greater body.
And there's a time even you felt I. But beyond that, it has evolved. It fits. It's understandable. I wouldn't be an appropriate term anymore. This
This is
one
correct.
marks away with the dirt, scrounging out the language, and then turns attention back up. And so you could understand why the world itself would function without you. For you once knew I, and it made no sense for you. But for the world, which mostly consists of eyes, the idea to be considered a we currently would be nonsensical, wouldn't it? I'm going to roll to do now, and we're going to see how that goes. Ooh. Uh-oh. Big Stoopy. Actually, does get a bonus to this one. Okay, 11. Roll a die for me. Daisuisen.
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 I need to roll to die complex because there are 6 of us here.
Yeah.
So I just do regular plus 5. Would I put plus 5 into bonus?
Put a +1 actually, because there's the kid there. The kid's the one who ties into the aspect of your blue.
I see.
I'm going to put in naturally in a second so that all of your stuff is there.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. So, wow, okay.
You
Wow.
did it.
Wow, we did it. We're both big stoopy today. We who are stupid.
We who are stupid in the forest.
Okay, so I've upgraded your attributes from this point on. So, we must consider this now. The idea that the outside world considers themselves I because they are not we. This confusion will probably be cleared to us now with explanation, though how we proceed forward is up to us. You can, I think, roll to die wise, it makes sense to keep in the mind, but yeah.
We must consider that we who are great and famous does have a point. However, the reason we ask you this question is simply to understand why you have not come to the same conclusion as us in much more time.
The one in front of you makes a face. Well, you got 6 brains and I've got 1, so give me some slack. Hell, you probably got even more inside the statue.
We who's afraid of the dark is also a comedian.
I suppose. Comedy's not my strongest suit, but cracking a joke is something I enjoy.
We find this to be a good aspect.
I'm glad. I'm going to change something on Susan's sheet as well. As considering more, well, I have a question. What is it that you've discovered that we have not?
We discovered that the outside world, this word, makes no sense. However, I will try to put it in your we will try to put it in your terms.
All right. I'll hear.
Does your hand consider itself to be separate from the body?
He looks down at his right hand, and then he kind of looks at his left hand. Well, this one, yes. Or no. This one does not. Puts up his left hand. My hand is not a part of is a part of my body in the same way it is my heart, my nose, my lungs, all of which fuel up to make one singular structure powered by the brain.
Why is it that you limit yourself to just this single aspect? Are you not simply a part of this country a part of this world? Why do you draw lines where there need not be lines?
Okay, you do a roll to do for me now, Brennan. We're coming for his ass. Let's go. Hang on. Beats it. Okay. I think I know how he's going to respond to this one. Suizen takes a moment. He considers. He thinks about this. And you notice something seemed to swap. This one was very much considerate of us and our means. Lacking in that arrogance, as you described it. We do understand him to be more open to concepts, much like our mother, though less sick. And
Sick indeed.
And as he considers, I would say the difference falls between our empathy and our lack of it. You asked when we started, what's the point of differentiating between us all when we're all one part? And all the same, you need to ask me questions, do you not?
We wish to understand. Do not mistake our question as an attack.
He kind of nods his head a bit and understands. I see. Understandable.
We are open to alternative views of the world. However, we still believe that you are an aspect of us.
I see. Excellent. Well, let's see if we can bridge this gap then.
And in this multitude of thoughts, thought processes, worldviews, we believe all can exist within us in harmony.
All can. Should all exist within you, do you think?
All should, but do not.
I see. Nods his head. Well, I should tell you my case at least, as you requested. Sitting next to the fire, he stares within it. We, as individuals, separate from a whole, cannot see quite eye to eye to one another. The reason we self-divide and create these different things is because we also have an understanding of community, collection. We understand that, well, I provided you food, though you did not call for me to do such a thing. Though I did know you were in need of food, probably. And pointing over to the child, that one was probably in need of food as well. That one is tied to a mother separate from yours. That mother is very worried. and that mother cuts wood for the village that she lives in. That wood burns fires about and otherwise provides for other people. Those people end up supplying their own goods out to others, all of which wrapping together to grant each other goods, services, life, and protection. This spreads to a further degree until we, yes, somewhat arbitrarily sometimes, set up a boundary because our differences grow too heavy. We set up these things because we are most likely searching for connection, much like you share. Though, outside of yourself, there is no connection that we can all share like yours. I do understand, and I'm willing to listen to why you think and why you believe that the world should be wrapped together. But we have our own reasons to divide, though they mean different things in you, I think.
You misunderstand.
Hmm?
We do not believe that the world should be wrapped together.
Huh.
We believe that it is.
I see. Please explain yourself.
The aspect of ourselves that is human. We understand longing, missing one's mother. We also miss our mother.
We must consider,
What do we consider?
does the aspect of ourselves with voice and mouth not want to be a part of us?
We must consider that as well, yes. We collected this form, and in this moment, we did indeed collect this form near a state of exhaustion. It has now become one with us. Though it would be said that to say this one does not want to be a part of us would be wrong. Instead, all of us feel what this one feels as well. Missing mother back in the town, we all feel that. That's something we all understand. It emerges from this one, but yes.
We must consider, if not for the collective, if not for the audience, then this aspect of ourselves surely would have ceased to exist, correct?
We believe this to be accurate, yes.
Though we did not save this aspect of ourselves as what we now understand to be a good deed. We saved this aspect of ourselves because it is right.
Did we do that at the time? Did we save this aspect for ourselves because it was right, or did we save this aspect for ourselves because it was convenient? That's something we are pondering now, correct?
We must consider.
We must. We saw... What was that feeling? What did we feel when we reached out and saw this child laying upon the ground and thought we should connect? We were thinking ever so shortly beforehand about our own life before we picked up this one. So,
We saw an aspect of ourselves not connected, but wounded, that needed to be brought back.
We cared for this one like we would care for ourselves, even though they were
As
not
we care
yet.
for all.
Yes, because all is the ecosystem, and the ecosystem we are connects to the world, correct?
Correct.
Understandable. We seem to have kept this one waiting. Oh, continue, us.
We have more questions than answers.
I can understand that. That seems to be... That in its own right seems to be life, I would suppose. You
See.
said... Huh?
We are learning this.
Yes. More questions every moment, popping up the more things you learn. You get an answer to a question, but another one pops up. It can be hard to have the answers for everything in that situation. In fact, somewhat impossible. Though,
Yeah.
if I'm correct, you do have an understanding of the world, and you say that the world is one big ecosystem. Yes.
The aspect of ourself that is afraid of the dark.
Yes.
You come to take away our mouth.
He stops and considers this. Let me roll to die. He looks directly across and speaks up. When I came into these woods, I knew you were here. I didn't know if the child would be here as well. It is true that the mother is waiting back in town. And no matter which way you look at it, the mother will miss that child in the form the child came in. It is fair to say that just as you are different when that child joined your collective, that child is now different for joining your collective.
We have learned a lesson from our mother.
Yes?
The aspect of ourselves that our mothers can only control the growth of our children to a certain extent.
He considers that point. I suppose that's true. Though, I would... I would like to return that child to the village. Because although that's true, all the same, I don't think it would leave me comfortable to know that that woman would be so torn from this affair. I suppose I should ask you, how would you feel if that child left your collective?
We must consider it. Without this child, we would have no aspect of ourself that is human anymore.
Yes.
We would lose the knowledge that being human provides. This is selfish. Selfish.
It would be. It would be very selfish. Though, he considers a little bit more. As I said earlier, or as you said, you could think prior to that human, could you not?
We could.
Did you know what I am? What this aspect of you was famous for?
We believe we do.
I'm a little bit acquainted to your mother. I am a core stabilizer. In this world, there are other entities. This world is one connected place. There are many different ecosystems. I would argue that every single individual human is an ecosystem in their own right. And one other such separate thing. An ecosystem of its own that nevertheless must bend to the world around it. The larger ecosystem it lives in, much like anything, is a core spirit. You have been granted will, language. Core spirits do not have these things, normally. And all the same, they can be granted them. They have their own gifts they can grant, concepts otherwise. And you are one of the situations where the inverse has been granted. He kind of pulls out a book. Within this tome, another in this world has granted me knowledge. She writes about many different core spirits. Others have provided their knowledge. This book, in its own way, is a collective of knowledge. Within this book, there's a listing of a core spirit of language. Something that could grant you what you sought. Or would try to grant you what you sought simply by providing something it had. Whatever the queen was simply seeking, this spirit sought to get granted to her via granting her language. Your queen, looking over, The ant, correct? The aspect of you that's an ant?
The aspect of ourself that is the queen, correct?
Yes. What was her goal, her wish?
The aspect of ourself that is the queen's goal was simply to exist.
I see. Thinks about it. A simple desire. Back when we were I. And that desire was fueled by all the ant knew. To create a colony. To create something new. A collection. To come together to keep it safe. Though, granting language granted a new understanding. Now the queen is much like every one of you here. At a point, you were born of an individual desire, but you evolved to a we. Many individuals, those singular ecosystems, have power of their own. I can tell you quite honestly, I don't want to take to you for selfish reasons. All the same, checking over, looking at the child, it would be safer for you if you did not invade upon these other ecosystems.
These are the rules that the aspect of our mother has spoken of.
Yes. I suppose it's quite like... There is a possibility for... You are an ecosystem of this world, correct?
We are the world.
We are the world. So you see yourself as an ecosystem to equal the world?
We see aspects of ourselves, though disconnected, still a part of ourselves.
Oh, I see. Huh. We
We
who are
look
great
upon
big-
you, and we see ourselves, despite the fact that you are separate from us.
I see.
If you were sick, we would help you, because you are an aspect of ourselves, as we did this boy.
I see. This is understandable, I suppose. This isn't something that is wrong about you. And quite frankly, it's something I think I'm starting to understand. You are... You are the world. And if you'd like to remain a part of the world, I suppose it would fall to me to help you with that. Because I can offer you something that you are in desperate need of, I imagine.
What is this?
Longevity and knowledge. Knowledge, I won't be able to grant you all of that. There's much learning to be done. But it is quite obvious that you've been here for 3 weeks, and you've already found a belief to follow, but the world itself is... The world outside of here was a concept that confused you, because the world is a world as a whole. But you have not seen much of that world, have you?
No. However, longevity is a concept that confuses us.
Well,
We existed before we existed in this form. And after this form is destroyed, we will exist on.
yes. You've only been alive for 3 weeks, correct?
Weeks.
Okay, let me think. Have you counted the nights? Probably not.
We
I'll say
understand weeks.
Okay. You've been alive for some time now, though I would say I've been alive. Do you understand years?
Years. Yes.
Yes. If you want... I have a question. Sorry. You and your collective, if I remember correctly, I can tell you that if you understand these times, I'll speak clearly. The average lifespan of one of those ants inside of yourself is anywhere from about 3 to 4 months. That seems to be the quickest burning torch within you. Have any of your collective experienced death before?
We have experienced death.
I see. There's something else. As a death, one part leaves you and another part joins. A death is a loss, for sure, but that is a part of the world itself. Though, that sapience, that part of yourself that connects all of you, that is something that is at risk right now. He looks directly across you. If you do not seek a new source of longevity, you'll find that that spirit inside of you will soon run out of energy if you keep expanding outward. Much like this fire will eventually fade.
We must consider it.
And so I suppose that's the first question I have. Would you be comfortable with fading away?
We consider this.
What do we think about that? Fading away as in dying, we assume.
We've experienced death. Why does the concept, as explained by the one who is afraid of the dark, the aspect of ourself, frighten us?
Well, why does it? We've experienced death. That was a strange event. It was weird, but it did not stop us. The implications that this has is different, however. What is death to us? What is our death?
Death to us is the loss of a part of ourselves. Though we will miss it, we continue on.
But we who are great and famous implies something else. They have a different differentiation. They have a different definition of death, or a different understanding of it. We should probably clarify.
We have considered
Yes?
death as the aspect of ourself who is afraid of the dark says. Seems different from death as we understand it.
I'd imagine so. Well, he considers a little bit, thinking. Death is something that people see quite frequently. Death is when a body fails from a practical standpoint. You've experienced the fail of body and the separation of a mind from your core. Death, for us, can also mean the end. We do not know what happens after death. We are unaware of our fate. In that same vein, I am speaking of death in that aspect for you. You will no longer be aware. Is that something that scares you?
We have considered. That frightens us.
I see. It frightens all of us. We have a... When you came to that one, did you ask that child if they would have liked to join your collective? Using
When
language.
we found this child, they could not answer.
Considers that. I see.
Is this child? Does this child appear to be in bad shape?
Not anymore.
Does this aspect of ourself that functions as our voice, hunger, fear the dark,
None of these things are true. However, all the same, what did you experience at the thought of one of your aspects being torn away by surprise? What is it you felt?
We must consider if that is the best for the aspect of ourself.
Shall we consider?
We are open to consideration.
That aspect is a child grows a number of years before they finally reach adulthood, at which point their mind finishes developing. They reach a zenith, and at that point, other things can be learned and the mind continues to evolve. Much in the same way, a mother cannot control a child, but a mother's and a parent's job in general is to keep a child safe, to help the child learn and grow. You are all growing now, as that body will, though that ecosystem, it had sapience, and I'm much that I do. The ecosystems of the world that have sapience are different than the others. These individual colonies of humans with their own hands, noses, hearts, lungs, they are more similar to you than I think they would realize. The form differs, but that child standing right there, that child had its own ecosystem, and it was fledgling. It was growing new. I would take no issue if one human granted themselves to you willingly. All the same, that child was still growing. That child was injured. That one did not understand what it wanted. It did not understand yet. But I would be arguing that that child, despite that, still has a right to be confused and has a right to reach that answer on its own.
We understand. So, by taking this aspect of ourselves back, we hurt the aspect of ourselves that is this child's mother.
Yes. Yes, that is how that is happening. And in the end, a village loses a child, fear grows of the forest, and for you, they've seen you walking around and they might be afraid. All they know and can understand is their child is lost.
And fear is powerful.
Fear is very powerful. He kind of looks down at the fire. Perhaps at one point, a distant relative of mine once feared the dark and made fire, something and harnessed it that could destroy the woods. Fear is terrifying. That is its nature, of course.
We have considered if the aspect of ourself that is afraid of the dark, the goal is to take this aspect of ourself, and perhaps it is the will of the world that this meeting has occurred.
Perhaps so. In which case, if you would be willing to part with this child, I similarly would be willing to help you. I have somewhere I'd like to take you.
We are willing to consider your world, so long as you continue to talk to us.
It'll be so. He who is Suisen bows down before you, and you've been scolded about this, or at least this aspect has. It is the idea of common courtesy, understanding. This is a respectful gesture.
We mimic this motion.
He sits up, sitting by the fire. I see. It would be quite difficult to assure every other one of these animals. But we shall try our best to travel together. kind of thinks about that. Have you ever traveled before? I know this is going to be a lot of mouths to feed.
Travel. We simply exist.
How far have you moved outside of these lands? Traveling is the concept of... He thinks, well, I suppose it would make sense. Humans define places as their homes. Many other animals do as well. Looks over at the monkey and the wolf. And we travel away from these lands when we seek lands beyond our home. It may not be traveling in the same sense as how it is for me, but we will be moving across a large stretch of land, and it will be harder to come across food without the familiarity of the landscape around you.
We understand. We who is afraid of the dark. We have a request.
Yeah. I'm listening.
We are experiencing what we understand to be sentimentality. We will miss this aspect of ourselves. We will be separate from it, even though it has not died.
He considers.
It feels as though we are drawing one of the borders that you do.
He gets a bittersweet expression on his face. Yes, you would be. He kind of looks across. Those are the borders we place up to protect ourselves, but also to protect others. Some aspects of the world experience pain. This is also a part of the world. Though, that child will be alive. They will be separate. They will be removed. But they and their mother will be happy. Does this make you happy?
This brings us peace.
I'm glad. Yeah. It can feel nice sometimes. In which case, in the morning, we'll depart. And I'll take that child back with me. I'll see them off from the woods. And he stops and thinks. Potentially after our journey. Because along the way, I think that child will need to visit this place too. The child, one of the reasons I grow concerned. The child has experienced many more minds than itself. It has not grown to understand its own yet. And I fear that without the interference of a powerful being, a child might not be able to live with what it has learned.
We consider, and we nod, placing a giant stony hand on the aspect of ourselves that is this child, as if to say goodbye.
We say goodbye to one of ourselves. We will keep traveling with them for a time, though, all the same, we know that a parting will come. A parting with ourselves. Though, with time, this night eventually recedes. We, who are so famous, who is afraid of the dark, who is known as Suisen, all of these things, we rest for the night, and eventually other bodies rest, take post, gather food, and otherwise. And with that, I'm going to call a very quick 5-minute break. That's been really good so far. We're doing great.
That's a trip.
That's a trip right there.
That's
All
a
right.
trip and a half.
We have been doing great.
Let's see. I'll be right back.
Oh,
Good work, everyone. Hey, Chad, how's it going?
Hey, Chad, is your
I-
mind expanding?
Oh wow.
Hello?
5 minutes.
No.
You know what that means? That means this is also a great time to check out our website.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's a great time for a Fast and Furious podcast.
To join
it
our
always
official
is.
Discord server. Family.
Bless you, Aloha.
And also, if you like this content and want to support it, the best way to support it is subscribing to Christian's Patreon. If you subscribe to the $5 tier on there, you can get a mini RP featuring the audience, learn how they got that name, and also get some ones of the older episodes and also the future episodes. More for you to know. We, who are the aspect of shilling, and also if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can get Prime Gaming, which allows you to get a free sub every month to your favorite streamer like us.
The aspect of ourselves with Prime Gaming can subscribe free.
Fuck Brennan. Alright, I'm out.
Who was that?
I'm back.
Who was that?
That is an aspect of myself that I wish I could cut out.
Did Aloha hop and call when I was here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow,
I hate
incredible. The dedication, the absolute will.
Yes.
That's a boy who's sapient. Oh, this has been great so far.
Yeah, you guys are doing wonderful.
Let me just get the map ready, because we are all about to embark on a traveling adventure together.
You're considering ourselves to be a part of ourselves.
Yes. I'm happy. Happy for us.
I was about to say when we said. When when you said
You would be correct.
No, you were right.
Yes.
we are. When you said, "How are you doing, chat?" I usually feel that pang of confusion. Like, was it Chad or chat? And now it's just gotten worse.
Chatted.
Chatted.
Chad.
Okay, I've got this one deployed. Let's see. Oh boy, did you need anyone else need to step away, get anything really quick?
No, I'm good.
All right, cool. Then let's. All right. So, now let me just. Okay. So, we are about to depart deep into the countryside. We've got a journey ahead of us. When the next day comes, we who are great and famous decided to go to the town, and we are not sure with what words he used to explain the situation. And let me roll to see how that went. Also, of course.
I can't believe we've done this.
I can't believe we've done this. We who are great and famous came with great haste back, with great fear once more, and ended up quickly arranging for us all to depart together. All of us leaving the village and heading out into the woods. As we go, a path opens up before us. We have a journey to make. So then, now begins the time of traveling. Are you ready?
We are eager to learn.
We are. Excellent. So, if you're eager to learn, then we will instill knowledge upon ourselves with this. You have entered the travel map. This place allows us to mark out an adventure path and head on down it. This is a simple mechanic where, as I explained earlier, we have our attributes, which make up our hull, and we roll them at the beginning of basically the beginning of a travel section. So let's do that now. Make sure you drop your swing, and we can roll. Okay,
Roll.
that's not bad. That's pretty good.
Die.
Okay, so I didn't get any 6s, but you did. So because you got a 6, we get to see the very first path forward, which is helpful. With that in mind, I will now reveal the first hex, because every 6 you get at the very beginning of your travel phase allows you to see 1 hex ahead. So, our very first segment on this adventure will be this mountain path. We are, well, as we go here, there will be different challenge ratings we have to roll over, and if we fail them, we might lose something or other on our travels. All the same, if we continue off on this path, regardless of if we win or fail, we will also take fatigue damage. This is just relevant of our travels, how we go. It's just inevitable. All the same, we also have something else. We have, down at the bottom, we have goods, water, and tools. Goods allow us to rest and restore HP in camp, basically. Water allows us to heal shortly on our travel, 1d6 each. And the last one is tools, lets us re-roll any dice in one roll we do. So that includes the opposition dice, our own roll. It's pretty useful. These are all we have going forward. Now, I should say, we as a collective have one issue. We are a lot, and while we are traveling outside of our natural habitats, this act of moving and resettling, it takes a little extra. As we travel, every square will consume 1 good for us. So, we're going to start running out of goods unless we forage for goods on our way, which will basically be rolling against the challenge rating of whatever
Good
square
thing
we
we're
go
a bunch of ants.
Yes, you will be able to find things pretty easily, most likely. And there is one more aspect of these travels. For as I said, we ourselves are a collective, yes?
We are.
We have many mouths to feed, but also many mouths and to speak and to be available to us and otherwise to advise. As we travel, we who are great and famous has not forbade us to collect more of ourselves and to grow and help with this world. In fact, during our travels, we should find others. And as a result of that, we, all of us, including chat and the Patreon, will be able to make some decisions while we're going.
Oh.
Yeah. We're going to basically be tossing out, everyone in chat will, for this first one, I'm going to make up a poll that's basically going to help decide if we're going to be getting what kind of new companion we're going to be getting.
Ooh, we who are watching at home, I hope we pick somebody cute.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, so I'm actually going to ask Jay's help for this one because currently I'm not logged in on this computer, and I'll get that fixed up. But I'm gonna pop over and send that one up. Let me just. I'm gonna send you the make a poll. Which part shall we encompass to ourselves? And I'm gonna give you the answers. Okay. I speak
Whoa.
to myself all the time. We were advising.
We
with our
were, we were considering.
And this is an easy one to start. There we go. And this first result will change a few things depending on what's selected. So I've sent that over, and in a moment, chat will see a poll popping up for us. But all the same, while they're dealing with that, we should deal with our own situation. This very first path forward. We departed, setting off from the land we knew as the world. We found ourselves moving across the rolling mountains next to our home. Our path will prove treacherous if we must transport all of ourselves across the land. This is going to be a pretty strong one to start, so let's go with... Well, this is going to be a 46 plus 4, 19 that we have to beat here. So, as we see this path before us, in what way will we traverse it? With what aspect of yourself will you look across this path and decide, yes, we'll go past here?
Probably we of body.
Fair, yeah. With that, I'm going to have Suisen roll this as well. Suisen will follow your path and move alongside you, as you are the ones of the mountain.
We are
Roll. Nice.
into
Suisen
this
passes.
mountain.
Yes.
I need to do?
Yes.
I mean, we need to do?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
We did. We did not.
Oh, okay. So I know exactly what happens here.
We do not know how to travel.
Okay. Yes, we do not know how to travel. Rip. Chat poll's going across right now. I see two options immediately spiking up, and well, I think I know which one's going to win. But let's just go take a look. For as we departed, we left this spot of the world, and as we went, there was a complication that came. Something traveling, disconnected bits of ourself, moving up across the world. It plunged its way forward, making its way up and about and across, all the way up to us. This was not good. This was dangerous. Suisen immediately made it clear that we must depart in a different direction. We started moving more hastily across the mountain, as we saw lights, more of those guided by fear, wielding the weapon of fear, torches, flame lit on wood, moving across, chasing across the mountainside. You all departed. The explanation that Suisen had left was not good enough, for in the end, all it seemed was that Suisen was yet again across his legend, running off with another damn child. And as
Only
he
been
departed,
a couple weeks.
only been a couple weeks, dude. As you all started to move across these lands, Suisen kept up, moving ahead. However, as you went, you noticed that it was difficult. It was difficult to get everyone across. This much is obvious. To move with such speed across these lands, at some point, there was an incident. Some caught up, catching and struggling and trying to deal with some of us, some of our being. And despite this, a result came about. Ripping at the arms of a child, attempting to seize them back. A person was pulling dearly, strongly. A conflict broke out. The first instance of conflict beyond with these two-legged beings. Humanity. Reaching, plunging itself forward, it interposed itself between you, grasping, pulling, attempting to rip away like Suisen said he would not. And with time, eventually, there was the incident that occurred. A tumble, a shattering of rocks as two individuals fell down deep off the cliff edge. This one who rode so far ahead of the others, with fury, eventually hit the rocks beneath, carrying one aspect of yourself with. And I will pull us that way now. As we all assembled ourselves around once more, we gazed off this rock face, traveling along the mountain edge, and we noticed deep down beneath there. And I'll move us now. Suisen rushes quickly around the side. Rope! Rope! Immediately grabbing a rope from his pack. Hold it! Gesturing it out to we who are little in front. As doing so, he starts scaling down, tossing back down to the floor, and going across and looking at these two. One of you come down.
We who is little will come down.
You who are little approaches downwards, seeing these two forms assembled. Medicine. Suisen's going to pull out a tool, and he's going to let you re-roll this roll really quick. Re-roll that last roll you did that you got a 14 on.
Okay. Roll to do.
He's trying to pull out medicine, pulling in and trying to assemble the best he can to do some sort of repairs, whatever he can to help these people. Oh, damn it. He's going to use another tool. The last tool you have. Reroll again. Frantically, with fear once more, he attempts to reach across. And this time, he's going to, I realize was one other thing, we can roll the difficulty again. So he's going to re-roll the difficulty. Ooh! Well, here's the last difficulty re-roll. That was the first tool. Let's see what happens. Okay! Okay. Then...
We do not roll well.
We do not roll well, but luckily, the very last tool's second re-roll for the actual roll means... Sacrificing every tool, rushing, you notice true fear on Suisen's face as he rushes down and tries to help this child stay alive. All the same, he looks at the person, and you notice despite this, he seems to be keeping them both alive, expending, pulling his pack to pieces, pulling out different things to keep them all up. You notice that a frustrated expression sort of falls over to a strange, concerned anxiousness, until eventually a ragged breathing calms, and moving with delicate hands, he attempts to ply a craft that he learned to keep these two alive. One of them is more successful than the other beneath, speaking up. I don't want to die. Suisen looks down at this person, and stands up again, and gazes up over at you. Come on. We're taking one more with us.
We
This
nod.
time I'm going to ask you. I want you to put your will on this one too.
We do so without second thought.
I see. With that, you gaze your will over this person. Someone with a wish just not to die, and someone offering a will to allow them to live. They almost seem, their eyes sort of dripping down a little bit with time, as suddenly they are, much like you, laying and connected. And this time, you feel connected with someone who is quite different.
What do we feel as this aspect of ourself is returned to us?
We feel anger, we feel laughter, maturity, fear, standing up again and righting themselves. We who are the first to anger slowly stands and faces around and kind of reassembles himself, helping carry the child along with Suisen and helping all of you up the mountain path. Suisen stops. We need to keep moving, quickly. We need to get out of here before the others show up. If we should probably find somewhere to lay low, at least until they pass.
Anger.
Huh?
We feel anger.
He stops. Right. Of course you would. That makes sense. We can talk later. Let's go now. Suisen, with a fright, starts to move down in this direction. Come on.
And then we follow.
All of you moving with Suisen, we find our path forward. We will now find ourselves eventually reaching a rest. As we're going to take some fatigue damage first.
We deserve it.
We deserve it. Suisen takes 10. Your collective takes 8. So, wow, yeah, Suisun's not having a great time right now. Uh, we of the Oregon Trail. So, we have successfully made it across this point. Now, would we like to camp here, or would we like to continue on? After all, first off, we've taken a bit of damage to our goods. We've lost all of our tools.
We are not in a hurry, however, we have not traveled before.
Yes,
What
we are
would the
not in a
aspect of
hurry.
ourselves that has traveled recommend?
We are not in a hurry. We have no real need to rest now. Oops, that's not that deep. So what we will do is instead we evade around, leaving those patrols of people behind, once more departing with this new part of ourselves. And eventually, we reach a new part of the landscape, moving across, no longer in a hurry, as we find ourselves coming across a new location, fleeing those previous spots. We finally reach the rolling hills that branch out from the mountains. And now we see a world new to us, surroundings that are blessing us with new horizons, new sights, new animals. And as we head out into these hills, we find this vibrant place, but our mind is distracted. We have our objective. We've also experienced new things, a new mind yet not discussed yet. We will follow the path laid forward for us now while we contemplate. All the same, leaving our place of enlightenment means finding new food sources and new members as we travel. And this is the task left before us. So, this next spot is going to require another roll. This is going to be a 3. And we've got a new mind, so boost your mind stat by 1.
Hooray!
Actually, humans are pretty cool. This one's big and adult, so this one boosts your mind and your body stat.
What?
Yeah, I went up those for you. Humans are pretty useful. So, as we go, we will be rolling against a CR3. So, give me another fresh roll now.
Drop swing?
You can keep your swing, actually.
Oh, keep swing. Okay. So roll to do.
Yes. Wow. Wow.
You should have never
Jeez.
taken me from my forehead.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, let's see how this roll is. 14. Okay, so you fail, but Suisun succeeds. So first off, we're going to take some more fatigue damage. Suisun takes 9. I think we're going to camp after this one.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. Here's one for you. Take 7.
Anger.
Yeah. Anger. Fuck. Suisun's at 1 HP. Good job, Suisun. You did it. You didn't die. So, because you failed, I'm going to give you an option. You're going to sacrifice 2 goods or 1 good and 1 water. We have 4 water and 3 goods, and we need 2 goods to rest.
So I should do 1 good and 1 water then.
I suppose so. That will be our decision then. All right. So along this path, we have trouble foraging for supplies along the way. It's a very long path, and the resources required of us are very intense. So, with that in mind, we now come across this point, and having pushed far, dealt with that adversity, a mind distracted, Suisun seeming to be somewhat torn, we all decide it would be best to camp for the evening. And so we do. We find ourselves at a campsite. Suisun has constructed something interesting. Pieces of fabric laid over himself to block the elements, along with another one of those fires.
We understand this concept.
Yes. This is actually something that you understand quite well. The aspect that contains anger, that one has camped before, as it is known.
No, we don't understand it from that standpoint.
Oh?
We understand it as the aspect of ourself who is afraid of the dark has divided the
Ah,
sky from the ground.
I see. This is. We've learned this from the aspect separated to us. This is knowledge we have gained from understanding one beyond a barrier.
We must consider.
We will consider. This is all what came to your mind as you sat here. Suisen, once more attempting to get a fire running. Okay. All right. So, is everything all right with us, with you, with your collective?
We are acceptable.
Hmm. He thinks for a little bit, and eventually he gets a fire started. As looking directly across at you, what did you feel? You said anger, right?
Anger. We understand anger.
Hmm. I see. From that one.
Yes. Why is it that this aspect of ourself feels this emotion, despite being the same as this aspect of ourself?
He stops. He considers. At a time before, I spoke of each individual being a different aspect, correct? A different element, an different environment, ecosystem, all of those things. In much that same way, those two are of a similar aspect. They are both. They're both humans, but they have no relation to one another for the most part, besides a very distant one of a bond of a village. They have grown separately and have created themselves separately. This is the idea of an individual. That separation, that difference. These two, by being set free, one has been able to develop a tendency to be quick to anger, I imagine. So, from being separate from that one for a time, this one pats the kid's shoulder, was not. This one is yet to learn that. Perhaps this one has experienced anger in the same way any of the collective might have, but not to the degree, not to the level that that one does. And there is a decent chance that this one will never turn out like this one.
But what you're saying is, in a world that prioritizes oneness, over the course of time, days, weeks, months, years, as you said, anger is inevitable.
No. Anger isn't inevitable. It would probably seem that way from looking at the perspective of looking at everything connected. Yes, at some point anger might show up. Anger might appear and it might manifest. It is impossible for the world to exist without anger. All the same, when you reconnected with this part, you experience it as well. But anger can be fleeting. And it is not true that one will be permanently bound to anger for the rest of their lives. Anger isn't inevitable in the same way that the wind and the waters are. It's something a little different than that.
We understand. We who is afraid of the dark is incredibly wise.
He kind of gives a dumb smile. I'm not the wisest one on this planet for sure. Neither would I even consider myself. Well, he kind of seems to get caught up. There's a little bit of a blush that forms, and then he kind of. I've simply thought a lot about these matters, a lot about the self and stuff like that. It's a topic I think I have a little bit of knowledge of because it's one that. Well, it's one I've had to think a lot about. It's a part of me. It's something that makes Suisen different from others. Though there are others who have probably thought to a deeper degree and maybe found deeper answers than I have.
We point to the book that Suisen was holding earlier.
Oh yeah, he gestures to his book and he pulls it out. What do we see with that? Huh?
Gives you the knowledge of those who you are not connected with, correct?
Yes. There are some that I'm connected to, but yet separated beyond the barrier, as you described. And others I have never met, yet I see their words on this paper. This is a collection of human thought, put into page of observations of the world. He thinks for a second. Would you like to read it? You have an
We would
understanding.
like to understand.
Excellent. He kind of passes the book over to the child, who then passes it over to the man full of anger, who gazes down at the book and looks at it and sees the written pages and starts flipping through. And the knowledge that this man sees and interprets, you notice with new concepts granted to you from this form, a form with more experience, an adult life, you see things written on the page that you can relate with, that you see and understand. Your collective can see this book and its experiences, but roll a die for me first. I want to see what you interpret from this. Oh, okay. Would you like to stay in... Which one would you like to select? Do you think you'd switch on yellow then?
I think we would.
Yeah, since that's the highest. So, with red, I would have taken this in a direction with a more physical understanding of things. With blue, I would have drawn you to a personal interpretation you made. With yellow, I say you decide what you glean from this book.
What is in this book?
This is a tome dedicated to core spirits, the profession of us with a great reputation. This outlines these lives, one which you are tied to. You see language listened on the page. You read about, well, a part of yourself that you never met, a part that remains silent within you. And beyond that, it speaks of other life, life that exists without will, yet still lives.
It's a rich and beautiful place.
It is. Full of a lot of anger, too, and other emotions. And wonder. And enough to keep someone going, even during the hard times, if you just look at it.
In order to properly understand, in order to properly be the will of this world, we must understand these separate emotions.
I suppose so. He considers. It is a way to understand the world deeper. Understand those silent organisms that live within themselves and erect barriers over others. I believe we all have a lot to learn from you, too. Your collective. We could learn a lot from the world.
We will learn when we return to us.
He turns over and he looks at the man again. And you notice something. You're starting to pick up on it. And other times he was silent, as if silence was, in your understanding, silence occurs when there's nothing to think about, nothing to speak. Though you've contemplated this now, and you've noticed that this person, especially after you had said an aspect of themselves, they seemed to stop talking, they locked something within. And now they seem to be doing it again. This is the first time your collective ever clearly saw a barrier forming. Thoughts locked away inside someone's head.
We must consider.
We must. What do we do?
What is this? An aspect of ourself that will not allow itself to be used.
An aspect that's locking itself away. An aspect that seems to, in this moment, not speak with the level it did before. There are thoughts and things in its head that are obvious, yet it will not share.
We would like to communicate with this aspect of ourself.
All right. Let us.
The aspect of ourself that experiences anger.
Oh. Will we see more of this individual?
Was that the one that was locking itself off?
Ah, no. It was
Oh,
this
the...
one. The one
Oh.
separate from us.
Oh.
We who are great and famous.
We who is great and famous. We must consider. Why has we who is great and famous locked itself away from us?
We cannot say, for we are disconnected.
We
And
are.
we who are great and famous has not said himself.
We who is afraid of the dark.
Yes.
We can all afraid.
Say again?
When we first met, you shook with fear. Now we are traveling together. By all aspects, you are part of us.
He stops. I'm sorry. I was just caught up in my own head. It's one of the disadvantages, I suppose, of being alone in oneself. I'll
Is
speak.
it lonely?
Yes. Though, even amidst company, it can be hard to feel that. All the same. He stops and kind of looks over across. I was more caught up with that one. I failed to speak, to explain things correctly in a way that could assuage people.
In a world that prioritizes oneness, miscommunication is inevitable.
Yes. Yes, you're right. All the same, I made a call to grant one other who wanted to live, yet all the same, I offered them to you in a way. When we...
Offer.
Yes, I asked for you to encompass them in much the same way that this one was encompassed.
But we already understand this being as an aspect of ourself.
Yes, but in a
You
similar
feel
way...
guilt.
I do. Yes. Yes, I do.
We must consider.
If it would be all right, when we reach this spot that'll grant a spot where we can live, and a spot where they can forget. Would you be willing to part with this one as well? Or at least with that one, you could offer them a chance to decide with their own will if they would like to join.
We understand your guilt. Similarly to the boy,
Yes.
you feel like you've given this aspect of ourself no choice.
Yes.
We understand. And we shall consider your worldview.
He nods his head. Thank you. All right.
But the aspect of ourself called Daisuisen.
Hmm?
In that time, please explain to me a way in Please explain to us, in which way is a world that prioritizes oneness preferable to a world in harmony?
He considers that a little bit. How is it preferable, huh?
We do not require the answer now.
I see. I'll think on it for you. How about that?
We are grateful.
He nods his head. I would love to hear your answer, too. Of the inverse. And perhaps, if you're willing to now... He stops. I'll think on the other question, and I'd like to hear your answer at the end of all this. But for now, I have a fun exercise for learning, if you're interested.
We nod.
Well, I'll answer a question in the inverse. Let me, one who is an individual, explain why a collective world would be better for us all. In a world such as that, we would all have understanding. We would all share in our knowledge and our feeling. And in that vein, we would, in our wholly, understand the world. We would find ourselves lacking in misunderstanding. We would, all of us together, be living in a form of harmony. There may be hardships that occur amongst all the world. There may be problems that come up. There may be injustice yet still due to the nature of the world as a whole. But all the same, that could be solved. We could discover a result which be fairest to all. That's the way I see it, at least. No barriers. And I offer the question to you. What do you view as a benefit to the world for being singular? A world which prioritizes oneness.
A world that prioritizes oneness. We must consider.
He nods. You also don't need to know this now. But something to think on.
We nod.
Daisuisen lays back, and as time passes, you, with the aspect of anger and the aspect of understanding of reading, looks at the pages and continues reading, and Daisuisen explains stories, giving you more and more context of the world, of simple moral quandaries and instances of individuals and people acting as a whole. All of these things helping to broaden and liven your experience. You hear the tales of the previous Daisuisen sessions. And also, why don't you roll me a do roll really quick? This will be a roll with your red. So if you want to swap to your red, then I will give you beat a 12 with a roll to do.
Yeah!
The collective's pogging out. We did it. We succeeded on a roll. So, while you were gone, while we did that, upon the next morning, we departed once again. And when we did this, good news. You might have noticed that the aspect of us that was a wolf was, well, it was missing. It was not within that group. It was going out to collect more food, and beyond that, it collected another aspect of us. So, with that, I'm going to give chat another option. This time, a little bit easier. No forbidden this time. Instead, we've narrowed it down to 3 more.
We will always choose forbidden.
We will always choose forbidden, but there is no forbidden to choose in this case. If you could put that one in, thank you so much. I'll even log in or try to maybe, but yeah. So, as you get going, we're going to get a good again. Let me just pop down another good because you found it, which means this next area we will be at a dead even because we've used 2. So we're actually down at 1 good now. It's good for us. Oh. So, as that chat poll goes up, we'll be able to figure out what new member we got for our party. And what stat will boost. For now, though, we're going to have another area ahead of us. So let's get to that.
I wonder what it will be.
Wonder what it'll be. Oh boy, it's my favorite one. So, Suisen continues finding our way forward as he makes note of something. A bit of knowledge. In this moment, he informed you... Oh, also, we should roll to die fresh, because we're going to restore some HP, and we should see how much we do. Oh, Suisen, restoring 17. Nice. And you restored at least 9. 14, so you're back at full. There we go. So, as we departed across this landscape, we found ourselves heading to a place Suisen called a border. This was, well, we have crossed the lands that we who are great and famous spoke of as a border, but they seem to turn different than before. We are aware of woods, but these turn deeper and darker than any other. Unconnected forms from ours, teeming and lurking in the dark. We who are great and famous specified very particular. We were no longer in Mitsudai, ever so temporarily. We were in a different country, known as Raoji, and it was safer if we stayed away from the settlements here. But we had to visit somewhere. There was somewhere deep within these woods, around these forbidden lands, where there was a specific agent Suisen had, a contact of sorts. We who grant secrets lied within these woods. And so, as we go, I'm going to drag us over. Okay. I keep forgetting you've got a lot of people to drag with you. And also, I'll make sure that I include chat's new friend, whichever it will be.
Ooh, big brain.
Yeah. Okay, so mind 1. Excellent. Which means get another monkey. 2 monkey.
The wisest of beasts.
Monkey know how to do things. When granted the will of language and sapience, monkey is a lot like humanity. You wonder if Suisen has realized this yet. It's fine. Perhaps this is only an awareness you have now to the inner workings of your collective.
We
Though,
cannot distinguish the difference.
You cannot. Perhaps this is the limits of different ecosystems. You contemplate on this as monkeys and the wolf and the deer and your 3 human companions follow you. You wander into this place, looking across, seeing different lands than you're familiar with. As you wandered up, Suisen kind of takes the front in this moment, and kind of calls out, "Hint."
Yes. A voice as gentle as the breeze sort of all encompasses swirling around you.
Are you here? Well, you're here. Where are you?
You feel it. The presence shifting. She's mixed herself in with all the things behind you. All of the us behind you. In the middle of that mass somewhere.
She, melding in within the humans, pops herself out, poking her head out as Suisen looks behind and sees her standing there.
She touches down immediately next to the other 2 humans. Well, I guess you did only bring 1 guest.
I have. Stop. Please welcome me in the audience. Also, I don't think 1's quite correct. They're we, if I'm correct.
What is this aspect of ourselves?
You look at
Introduce yourself.
You look at this one. how do I put this? The one aspect of ourselves that was sick is the closest being to this, but let me ask you. What do we think of the wind? What do we think of
What do we think of the wind?
What do we think of the water?
We must consider these.
We've heard Daisuisen call these things eternal things that come with the world. But what do we think?
Aspects separate from ourselves, but eternal.
How do I put this? This is the best comparison. That wondrous thing that Daisuisen made for you the other night. That fire. It's just like the smoke pouring off of it. She shifts around and then bows. My name is Hint. To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking? Moves over to Daisuisen. Oh, did you finally make a friend?
And
Oh, come on. Don't be like that. Come with me. Come with me.
aspect of ourselves called Daisuisen, are we friend?
Christian, if you're saying something, you're muted.
Ah, I see. Yes, we are friends. This is a hint.
And
We are friends.
myself is glad.
I am too. This is hint.
Bows again. Every time you say her name, she bows.
He bows back. This is someone who is going
Is
to
truly sick.
Oh wow.
She lets out a cackle and starts to gesture over in this direction.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
We follow your lead.
He steps forward, all of you moving along with, as he kind of starts moving his way across up, and you come to this little shrine altar in the back.
You wouldn't come to me unless you were really desperate.
Well, I need to find something pretty unique.
Well, you know the deal.
Right. Yes, I do know the deal. Okay. He kind of stops, and he looks across, and he... Did you know that the great Daisuisen kidnapped a child from Omani?
You notice that her hair, snaking away into smoke or almost film as it is, flares up for a second. Kidnapped a child from Amani. Yes, that rumor has reached my ears.
Sighs.
Oh, the weight of being so well known.
Quite frankly, my secret's are already known world over.
Well, you could always tell me about that secret of that arm of yours.
I refuse.
Well, one secret of yours or 3 secrets of others.
This aspect of ourselves seems to be very knowledgeable.
She is.
She's
Incredibly knowledgeable.
She takes a step forward. As a follower of the hidden god, I tuck away things that others don't wish to be known.
God,
She blinks a few times and then looks over to Daisuisen. Oh, you found someone very unique.
I did. I'm not quite sure if they would be willing to share a secret to appease Miss Hint.
we are considerate of other worldviews.
Huh.
What is secret?
A secret? Oh, a secret is something not known to the world at large. She says those words, the world at large. Something that is not known to the world. For you, for the collective, that must mean things that you do not know. Correct?
We must consider. That is correct.
Oh.
What a strange puzzle of a thing she just said.
She wants us to know things we don't know and trade them to her?
Yeah.
We must consider. How do we give what we do not have?
Is such a thing possible? Can you give food to one when you do not have food?
Float, 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 float.
We do not think that is possible. We cannot produce nothing from something, or something from nothing.
What do we... Perhaps we need more clarification.
We require further clarification.
Things that the world does not know at large. Well, you could start off with where you came from. I'm sure that would be an interesting secret.
But we know where we came from.
Oh, then I guess that isn't a secret at all. She gets a difficult expression. Oh, Daisuisen, you've chosen a hard friend. You're on mute again.
He just... Yes. All right, let's... He takes a breath. A secret. As you said, a secret... Or actually, didn't say. What do you think a secret is? That which is not connected to your world or the world at large?
Correct.
Right. Similar to... We cannot share a secret that we do not know. But there are things that are secret to you now. Things that you have not witnessed in the world, though you know it exists in the world. Except, there's a differentiation, but he stops and turns over and looks at Head. And, and
she's
like,
she's loving this.
he's just like,
It's
maybe,
It's delightful tying your pretty little head in knots.
why don't you just take this as payment then? I'll explain the concept of a secret if that's that good enough.
She moves over and looks up at the gigantic statue. To a certain extent, all things that you don't know must be secrets, correct?
We reach a giant hand behind our head and retrieve a spider. We hand this aspect of ourself, the spider.
Please give this aspect of ourself to the aspect of ourself that is a god.
Oh. She takes a step back and then claps a hand on your shoulder, Daisuisen. She's small, but this feeling resonates through your entire body.
Mm-hmm.
This and seeing your face is more than enough.
He stops and he looks across. Well, if it's more than enough, maybe I could get something else too.
She turns back around. You don't smoke now, do you?
I do not.
She's thinking, I just got the most fascinating pipe from a traveler.
Oh.
She's struggling pretty hard about this. Well, first of all, tell me what you want to know.
Well, first, I'm looking for the fold that contains the toad god.
Oh, you can't tell them that it was me.
I know. I never have.
Her eyes pinch shut with a big smile. That is easy enough. Are you prepared to deal with them?
I'm going to do my best.
She sort of hops in place and then actually reaches in and pulls out pulls out what appears to be, yeah, is this a hand mirror? She hands it over to you.
Huh? He kind of inspects it. What is this?
Something that I have reclaimed from the gods' fingers. A mirror that reflects the true self.
He holds the mirror.
She throws a cloth over the top of it. Don't look into that unless you're ready to engage with what you see.
He collects that, and he kind of puts it in his pack. Understandable.
Her eyes pinch shut again. My business is in secrets, not in truths.
Well, I suppose that makes sense. It's a pleasure doing business, as always.
She's holding the spider. The spider is moving across her back.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Hent.
Bows again. If you find something truly interesting, please don't hesitate to come by. I can feel it. You're growing more attuned to the folds. You could probably travel here in just 3 steps rather than the 5 that you took.
He considers that. I suppose that's true. But 5 or 3, it doesn't matter if I don't know which steps to take. So he kind of pulls out his map, just whips it open, and then points. Where's the closest spot on the map?
She moves in, and here's where you'll find your toad as well.
Thank you. He considers that, and, well, I know I'll be needing to get a new map after this one. You're not going to let me walk out with this.
She shakes her head. You can keep this one. Thank you for entertaining me. She moves over to the man who was little. Looks down. I shift over to the big statue. Keep an eye on the kid for me, okay? He has the most rotten luck.
He steps over down to the side. Oh, goodness, I suppose that would make sense, wouldn't it? He goes
we have
over.
many eyes.
We do, all of us together. We'll be able to do it. He kind of takes a breath. All right. Well, it's time to go.
As you say that, she calls out one more time, Daisuisen.
Yes?
You're familiar with the Raojin concept of good and evil, correct?
I've heard, but why don't you elucidate our friend?
She just, she looks at the trio of you and then tilts her head to the side, sort of appraising you. What you're doing right now, would you say it's good or evil?
He considers that. Huh. In Raoji standards, I couldn't really judge. I've never learned too deep what they differentiate between. And frankly, I haven't really thought of it at all.
Lets out a quiet chuckle, eyes pinched shut.
He feels energy almost pull around as Daisuisen answers the question, and he feels more of this place kind of filter through to him now.
Keep that open mind close with you at all times. It's your greatest quality.
Yeah.
We disagree.
Oh.
Oh, your friend doesn't like it.
The aspect that is greatest about this aspect of ourself is that he is afraid of the dark.
He stops and he like looks over to the side and he's like, I was holding on to that one.
His eyes ignite. Oh, what a wonderful secret.
No, I did. He stops and he puts his hands on his head. Oh!
we would like to receive for our secret.
He stops. He turns over, and he looks. Yeah, you heard them. Come on.
Of course. What can I trade you for that one? Thank you so much.
We must consider. What can we ask for?
Well, I know most secrets, and a secret...
We were not talking to you. We were talking to our brain.
Oh, that's fine.
What can we ask for? You can be a part of the brain too, Jay. But what
we
can
could
we
be
ask
a,
for?
we could be a part of the brain.
We could ask. Well, what have we gleaned of secrets from our interaction here? From seeing Suisen and Hent, what is secrets? What is secret stuff?
Secrets are valuable.
They are. They're valuable.
They also help us think.
Yes, do they also exist behind barriers?
In their nature, they exist because of barriers.
Yes, exactly. Which is why a secret cannot exist between us.
Yes.
Hmm.
So we must request something that exists outside of us.
Yes.
We request you.
Stops. Excuse me, pardon me, what?
You that exist outside of us. You are a secret.
Raises a good point.
She's... Head tilts back and forth, just like... That's a pretty good point, actually. She seems to be genuinely considering this, Suisen.
He stops and he's like, what?
Claps hands together. Okay.
Huh? Daisuisen just watches like, what's about to happen? Plays out in his head.
Walks forward, pats you on the shoulder again, and then you can tell Hint's like, Hint kind of wants to know what the fuck's gonna happen too.
He's just like, and then he kind of falls in line. Well, I suppose you got a good wish.
We add her to the fold.
Oh, excellent. Oh, beautiful. Let me just double check one of her dice were. Okay. So what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna roll to die really quick for good old Hint, and you're gonna get something based on what result comes up. So we're gonna do it's just be a normal 40. Let me double check.
Ooh.
Let me double check what that
is that?
stat is.
What is that?
Oh, this is extremely exciting. Let's see. Well, you're gonna get something from this. Oh. Okay, so yeah. You start to add the Servant of the Hidden God to the collective by sort of punching through this barrier, and first the hair shifts and you feel like you understand a little bit more of her form, and then a little bit more, and then she winds up almost... You plunge deep into this creature's subconsciousness, feeling her finally join the hole. And you understand, almost as a webwork, like a tree on the surface sends its roots deep below the surface. You sense the earth below you, and then whatever is connecting to you shorts out. It fires rapidly, and you are assailed with literally random information. It is jumbled, objectively worthless for the most part, but it is a pile. You gain knowledge of the world at large, not just Raoji, not just Mitsudai, but you gain knowledge of boats, you gain knowledge of cars being made in a distant country, you gain knowledge of trains, but it's all piecemeal bites of information.
You are both of you okay?
The world is a terrifying place.
He kind of stops. There's a lot of fear. Oh, are you here? He turns over to Hint.
Thump.
Death is a natural aspect.
Like, hey, Hint?
She's still breathing.
He kind of picks her up and takes her over to the side. Is she separate from you?
We cannot feel her.
I see. I'll be right back. She goes. He goes inside, and then shortly emerges again, and seems to be refreshed as he's just like. He kind of comes out. That was absolutely worth the secret. So then,
I'm glad.
yes,
We are glad.
we're all glad together. So, time to go?
We should go.
We should. He kind of straightens up his face. The next spot on, that's going to be this domain. When we get there, we're going to need to be a bit careful. And with that, we're going to drag back to the travel map really quick. As we move and approach up, having passed this mysterious shack in the woods, we pass that cabin, leave the Hint behind, having gained a whole lot of new terrifying information all at once. We move into our final destination. As here, we're going to roll to die really quick. Or roll to do. We're rolling to do. That's what we're doing.
Do.
Do. Okay, I'll do as well. 28. Okay, so this challenge is going to be a middling one.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? There it is. We did it. So, we managed to beat the challenge. And as a part of that, as a bonus, guess what? We find water. We both find water. And actually, I realized because we rested earlier, Suisen also found more water. We have so much water right now. We have 7 water right now.
We can swim.
We can swim. However, we're going to consume that last good, so we're going to need to try to forage for more food, or else you're going to start starving. So, I'm going to give us fatigue damage first, because we did take it. Susan takes 8, and then you take 8. Let's see. Let me put him down to 10, and you down to 22. Now, one nice thing is we do have a lot of water, so we could just roll d6s right now and boost up our HP. I'm going to have Suisen do that once. Gets 5 back. And you could also roll just a plain d6 to see what you get. A 3. So, as we start moving once more, we have plenty of water and supply as we keep moving, and we're able to feel ourselves throughout this path. We were directed to head back to the country of Mitsudai, back across that national border. And as we went past the rolling hills. We found ourselves descending into that big, wondrous marsh with plenty of grass to forage and water to drink. We grabbed as much as we could, and, well, the same, we say our path is not complete. Supposedly buried within this marsh lies a gate to a place unlike any we have ever seen. We must search for it. And with this roll, we have successfully found it. So, as we move, we head deeper into these woods. A different flavor to these woods than the ones we emerged from. All of these lands feel ever so different, yet there are distinguishable elements amongst them all. Similar plants, similar animals, intermixed with new ones as well. And as we go, we find ourselves entering an opening of the marsh. As we start heading through, Daisuisen leading the path, having put away his map at this point, continues to stumble on forward. Alright, I think this would be the spot. Yeah, right ahead there. He points straight ahead. That's a pathway that's been constructed. However, it doesn't lead anywhere, not yet. Until he kind of steps this way. And he takes a foot into the water and then kind of turns around. There's a new concept I want to explain to you. We spoke of it back at that camp. Has anyone ever
Please
explained?
explain.
Yes. The concept of a fold. Has that ever been explained to you?
What is fold?
Well, folding is an action. He folds his map, much like this. There's saying that if you fold a piece of paper over a certain amount of times, eventually it will snap. But you can keep pulling it, increasing the tension of the object every time you do it. In a way, a fold is like that with the world. The world exists as we know it, and beyond that, it can also shift and take different shapes, much how we can. Much like every single one of us is a little different. He goes and puts hand on these two deers. Both of these, one was spotted, one without. We are living in the plain world, and night beneath it, it's a little bit of spots. The entity which is the toad god resides in this land, and this one in particular. I should tell you, the toad god himself. That god is one of longevity and also fleetingness. He should be able to help us with both of our problems.
Do we have folds?
He considers that for a moment. Not in the same way I describe. However, in a way, I suppose we would. We as people. A collective or an individual, there are complexities and folds within all of us. Though, nothing quite like this. He steps down to the side, moving into the water, kind of wading in it, passing the foliage until he's about waist deep. You can come into this water, every single one of us. It won't drown you. In fact, you'll barely feel wet. He says this, and as you step into the water, you feel this. Water itself, as you have drank it before, is viscous. It has a light membrane to it, but this one feels ever so stronger. The membrane of this water seems to wrap around you with a sensation of plastic wrap. Plastic wrap. That's so weird. That's something you gained from Hint, you think. You continue moving deep inside, following Daisuisen, as all of you dip inside of this water, moving deeper. And with the guidance of
It's
we...
full of wonders.
With the guidance of we who grant secrets, we meet upon a particular patch of marsh that looks no more different than the rest. Even still, this marshland has a certain air to it. Once brought to our attention, we see its undoubtedly otherworldly quality of stillness. At this point, we are great Fumus descended, and we followed. With that, I'm going to call our second and last break before we go into the final part.
Oh boy.
Yeah, boys. I'm gonna get some water.
Go get some
Stuff up.
water.
We're good to go. Oh no, not that one. Nothing. Great.
No, nothing's
There
not
we
yet. No, go
yet.
get some water.
Okay,
Hey,
I'll
Chad.
get some water.
How you doing? Hey, Chad. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I knew it. I could feel it
you
coming.
feel it?
I love him.
Oh boy. I'm like, man, is she strange enough to just go along with with getting added to the collective? Yeah, probably. If she'd rolled higher on a stat that wasn't literally the white stat, which is like static information, I think you might have just had another body. Then you would have had to play a much weirder person.
So many minds to pollute the collective.
Yeah, that one's a bad one to pollute the collective.
But we learned plastic wrap.
You did learn about plastic wrap, though.
You did learn about plastic wrap and Cars.
And Cars.
2, the movie.
Deeply upsetting.
Who in this world would create something about sentient cars?
Oh, man. Oh, too many options. I've been... Seliph, I have attempted horror for the first time. Oh, that's so upsetting. Brennan, I gotta give you a lot of credit. I love this character. This is the wildest concept I've ever seen.
It's breaking my brain slowly.
Lord Traffic Cone says, "We who is good at trivia night." Oh my god.
We who are the aspect of Kari, says Aranea, makes the sequel to Bear Buses Cars 2.
Cars 2. Yes, We Who Is the World is incredible.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We compliment ourselves.
In this brief brevity, Brennan, there's that thing I messaged you the first time you played this character. What do you think the likelihood is on that?
Oh, wait, I got a review. Hold on.
Huh?
No, shut up, Christian.
Can we talk now?
No, you can
No
talk.
talking during silent reading time.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
it's pretty
so-
good. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Okay.
So, I do want to set up some last stuff, but if Jay, if I could ask
Yes.
you for one more audience poll here, at least for now.
Yes, absolutely.
Give him one more animal selection because we picked up one more friend on our way in here.
Is, you know what I'm gonna ask?
Yes.
Is it back? It's back? Is,
Let me think.
is that option
Yes,
on,
actually,
that
do it.
option's on the menu again? Okay.
Yeah, that option's on the menu again.
Okay, so we're doing all of them.
We're doing all of them.
Okay, time to manage a poll. By the way, this is... I said it to Brendan, I think, like, mechanically and, like, gameplay style, this is the most interesting concept I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I am so... I also like the audience participation a lot. This is a great way to do it. This is just...
Yeah.
It's just an awesome way to play the game. Okay, there we go.
I opened another tab and it was just zoomed in on the frog in the mouth.
There we
Yes.
go. Okay, duration 2 minutes. Everybody, get your votes in.
I wonder what's gonna happen.
Am I allowed to vote?
Yeah, everyone's allowed to vote.
I'm not allowed to vote because I'm logged
Oh,
into
yeah.
the main account.
We
Yeah,
who are
okay.
not allowed to vote. Ha
Yeah.
ha.
This is
Oh,
democracy.
That's a fun vote. I like where the chat's swinging so far. Oh, that's gonna be fun.
I see it rising.
Yeah, it's rising, but
I-
will it win? We'll see.
I respect everyone's vote so far.
I do too.
Oh,
I do
absolutely.
too. Not
We
staying.
choose
We
violence.
choose
Oh my god.
Every Zig says, I have to wonder how the interaction with Hen affected the audience's worldview. I have no idea. Will you choose to be difficult?
I'm trying to think of a combination of we who are that expresses
Hey, Jay, I'm gonna message you something really quick.
Oh?
Something I saw in the chat earlier.
This will be coming later. It's not immediately.
Yeah, I'll prep this up.
Hey, I don't know what that means.
We who have found rock.
Ooh.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, I'll get that ready.
All right, and I see that. Nice.
Nice.
Statue is won with 69% of chat. Good job, chat.
Nice.
We who are the 60%. We who are nice. Oh God. Okay. So, with this, now we okay. So since statue, Brennan, you're going to up your statue score by 1 as you've collected many more small creatures that can fit within inside of yourself. Or you could not collect anything new and reason how improving the statue is done by a different way.
No, I want more bugs.
Give me bugs. So, tell me, you have more bugs now. Tell me what kind of new bugs did you get on your travels?
I want like a 6 centipede and a daddy
Yeah.
longlegs.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of worms.
Yeah.
And a beetle and a like one of those big beetles with the horn.
You should get some cicadas in there too.
Yeah, some
Now
cicadas.
you can make some like armored echoing cicada sounds out from your statue.
Yeah, chat, what other bugs? Give me some bugs.
Yeah, chat, post some bugs. Post bugs, chat.
Just like a nice little caterpillar.
Uh,
Just a little guy.
Oh,
you
what about
select
some
which-
what about some cocoon earrings?
Oh, that's
Ooh.
fun. Fireflies, ladybug, mantis, snail, bees. You select from the list of which ones you want. Oh, Aloha says Jibo.
That's not a bug. You're a bug, Aloha.
Jibo's a bug to me. He says Aloha. 2 worms who are gay. Moths, beetle, roly poly, mantis shrimp.
I'm
Mantis
going
shrimp
to
will
add
die.
the 2 gay worms. Mantis shrimp is kind of not really a bug, right?
No, that's like it's sea life. Tier.
Ooh, mosquitoes.
You get a lot of bugs. In
Yeah.
fact, dipping in, you get a lot of. I'd say you especially get bugs that live in marshes. So
Oh,
lucky for
Oh,
you.
dragonflies.
give me some leeches.
Wonderful, wonderful.
We who
make-
sack the blood.
will suck the blood. So, with the chat poll done, I can upgrade your stat line so that your yellow's a little higher now. There we go. So right now you're sitting at red 5, blue 2, and yellow 3.
Ooh.
Pretty nice. So with that in mind, we're gonna get back into it momentarily. As heading deeper in. Okay. We emerge, all of us together, out from that marsh once more, into a new world, to say the least. We've entered a strange place. It is the exact location from which we first emerged or went into the waters, but now it seems to have changed. As was described, a thin layer over reality. This is Fold, as we who are great and famous would describe. We who are Suisen steps out first, going out of the water and passing these small little circular barriers on there. Try not to touch them, but feel free to come on out.
We follow carefully, but we have to go in single line.
Yes, you have to go in single line. This is a fold. He steps over to give you some more space. It's, to say the least, otherworldly. But it also exists within this world, much the same as you do and I do. It is truly a separate ecosystem.
So this world is a part of us.
I suppose so, yes. This world and the world that we just came from are still the same world. It's just that, it's a little harder to get into here. I suppose we always consider it as humans as perhaps hidden countries, silent domains within the earth, but I assume for you, it's just, he kind of turns around and gives you a bit of a smile. I assume it's just a really well hidden anthill, huh?
Secret.
Secret. That's right. It's secret. And with that, he steps forward, moving down and onto this path, a path he previously said led nowhere, but now it seems to lead off deeper into this realm. And I'm going to grab you all as all of us return. And now we see a different location. I'm going to drop all of us this time here.
Oh,
Everyone gets represented now. As things are getting a little complicated. So, we have entered a fold. And as that has happened, I do remember our current resources we have available to us. And as we wander these folds, it'll get pretty dangerous, is all I can say. So, as we go, we'll need to be careful. We have one good right now. And as we depart deeper, we're going to find our goods growing shorter and shorter in supply. We can try to forage here, but I will warn you, it will be difficult. Also, let me drop these instead. There we go. Updated. So, let's be off. We have entered a fold. So, as we're starting this new leg of the journey, let's drop and re-roll our swings.
Oops, wrong button.
Yeah. So, it seems as though we both... Well, body makes sense. You have no knowledge of this land, and currently it may just simply be best to charge forward.
Mm-hmm.
Suisen will also move in with his own yellow. So, we both hit 18. Now that's 13-13 to 18-18. That's what I like to call symbiotic. So, let's both roll to do. Nice! Come on. You guys... Okay. Okay, so...
We haven't rolled above a 10.
We who are shitty.
We who are possessed. It's because Jay is an aspect of ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, you're right. Oh no. So, we've started here, and we find a world within a world. Descending through the marsh, all becoming aware of this unknown segment of reality that simply exists beneath the world. We, who are great and famous, rise from the swamp at the head. There's still much journey ahead, and through lands that are unfamiliar to us. So, we're going to be rolling against this. Because you failed that, you're going to take a wound instead of taking fatigue for this segment.
I would like to eat a deer.
I see. Throughout these travels, as we move, one of your very first companions in this point, one of the deer that awakened, the first big thing that became one with you. This one right here, the one without spots, it became lost in these woods. And eventually, it's separated, disconnected. You felt it. You felt death again, deep within these lands. You felt a disconnection there, as a part of you was lost. But you do not take a wound, for instead, one of your collective falls. Suisen, however, will take that. 6 damage. That's not too bad, Suisen. So, all the same, this alerts you as you all travel forward, passing behind you the gate deeper into these woods. And as we move further ahead, we move with more caution. This realm is hostile to us. We are forced to be selfish here, unable to balance the needs of our consumption. Despite this, we are still capable, and finding our way forward is not impossible. Yet on the other side of this dangerous land, we come across something strange. The strangest thing to find within a fold. Something that surprises even our great and famous friend. A settlement. Most peaceful and welcoming. We consume 1 good down to 0 goods. And next up, we move into a settlement within the fold. I'll drag us there now. So I just got to put everyone down. So, as you dip around these strange glowing balls of magic and energy, you kind of ended up finding the stream, and the first signs of settlement was indeed walls and constructions out on the outskirts. But as you went deeper in, you noticed that, well, it seemed as though a settlement to you. You realized it was a settlement quicker than Suisen. Or, at the least, you realized you were moving within one already. Suisen, who was so used to settlements of more common human make, did not realize that most of these lands were settled by the people that stay here. There were buildings, sure enough, deeper in. But this is a most curious settlement that both of you could learn something from. Bottom left. You and Suisen step forward, gazing at the land around you.
We sense that this is uncommon.
He moves up himself. It is. What? You look about. You see constructions made similar to how man does. Bridges built across streams, walls constructed. And also you notice this, a building, a shrine of some sorts, cast red with large roof on top of it, with almost a tree growing around it. Thorns and spines dipping off into the earth. You approach a frog, which seems to be sitting there on the pedestal. And Suisen turns around and looks at you. Be careful about frogs here, and toads. They are, all of them, protected. We should be careful about taking any of them.
We understand.
Thank you. He turns
Now is
around.
not the time that they will return to us.
Yes. He steps forward, looks across, and he steps over on this bridge, and he notices across the way, there's a big frog standing on 2 legs. Suisen, kind of smiling at that, waves across that as he steps across the bridge.
It is becoming increasingly difficult
What
to
is?
respect your wishes.
He stops and kind of sighs. What makes it the most difficult this time?
We want that frog.
He stops and he looks over. It's a very cute frog, but let's see if we can lighten the burden of guilt before passing off to new people. Maybe you'll find some that are willing to travel with you.
We understand.
You notice something. You hear the sound of squishing footsteps from behind you as someone emerged out from the shrine. Someone? They stop, eyes staring directly at you, standing on two legs as their eyes shift over and stare directly at your collective group standing in front of you. And with that, kind of steps up over to the bridge, waddling forward, and stares. Would you like to try to communicate with this person?
Yes.
All right. The frog approaches, seeing the littlest of men, and actually stands about at the same height. They exchange glances at each other. This one's going to try to roll to communicate with me. See how you do this. I want to know how the collective communicates with one who does not have language but has sapience.
This should be more of our wheelhouse.
Oh, it is.
It is.
So, how do you speak? How do we engage with this?
Ironically, despite the fact that this interaction should be more primal, more close to nature, two entities communicating without speech, the audience will employ something that was learned from the aspect of itself known as Suisen.
Oh.
And the aspect of ourself that is little will do a bow.
Oh, you do a bow, showing a common side of courtesy. And it seems that the entity in front of you, disconnected, still appreciates this. We who are disconnected and slimy bow as well, showing some form of acceptance of your presence here. It seems you have granted a presence on your own to leave, and with that, kind of seem to move around. And Suisen also steps to the side and bows, and doesn't really know exactly what to do here. And this one approaches. It looks up to you, the collective, and it points at the belly of this one. It is communicating as it points back to you. Do you understand?
We do.
I see. In which case, this one kind of moves off in this direction, and Suisen's like, what? What was that?
That does not prioritize oneness. Has no need for language.
He kind of considers that. Suppose not.
We can communicate based on common understanding.
Moving off to the side. Coming back, you notice placing down a bunch of bags. A bag of food, some water, and just a bunch of other things. You have gained the grace and the courtesy of the marshland village of frogs. As a result of that, they have granted you good luck on your travelers deeper into this hostile place. As a result, we gain one good, one tool, and one water as a gift from the villagers.
We all bow.
We all bow very, very deeply. That is quite nice. And as that happens, I'm going to mark those all on the map there. But, so, with that, Suisen kind of seems surprised at that. Huh. And this blessing of good luck left upon you, the frog kind of stops, moves over to the side, steps up on the bridge, and hops over with a splash into the water, disappearing beneath the waves. The little ripples of this small little creek.
You fear this world.
He considers, I don't fear it much anymore. It's what knowledge brings us. Though, they wouldn't have given us gifts if it was an Eevee travel. All the same, there doesn't seem to be anything to fear. He starts moving up. It seems as though knowledge granted to one or all, to we, is universally capable of taking away fear. He kind of stops and goes over, and the frog puts out a hand, and Suisun just kind of like holds on to it, and the frog pulls its hand away, and then raises it up high, and then Suisun's like, "Oh, okay," and he gives this frog a high five, and with that, the frog kind of steps on back, moves over to the side, and just kind of plops down and watches from the brush, and he kind of moves over. So, he kind of looks as about to talk to you about some of the topics again, but immediately you walk past and you come face to face with this figure.
We extend a hand for a high five.
It comes up. The frog raises up again, kind of slowly at first, before putting a hand out, and then you feel the slap of the slimy skin against your hard stone statue body. It makes a sound almost. He kind of Suisun looks over. I'm just genuinely curious about this one, but is one high five enough, or should you try it for the whole collective? How does that work?
It is only fair that we all get a high five.
Suisun looks. Suppose so. Every collective member approaches up, moving around the side, and the frog just kind of moves down and starts doing like a running line, giving everyone one, looping around, moving over, and it pats the child on the head, and then moves off towards the water. Suisun kind of looks at that, and something kind of reminds him, like returns at his mind. I see.
What was that?
Well, that was a high five, a greeting, but...
No.
Oh, at the end?
What was that to us? An experience not necessary for survival. An experience that did not deepen our understanding.
Absolutely.
Yet an experience we enjoyed.
That is the feeling of joy, pleasure, or even companionship. As you said, all the collective is one. We are together. A while ago, you asked if it was a lonely experience. But how about you? Is it lonely to be within a world where you cannot act with others? Where you demand and do, or not demand, but where all of you must decide on your own?
We must consider.
We must consider. What do you
In
think?
a world where all is one, does companionship exist? Or is companionship the meeting of two individuals?
I mean, surely it must. We are separate yet unified, so surely we have companionship with ourselves. Correct?
But
Or
why haven't we felt that before?
perhaps it is the new world. Perhaps it is not. We have just experienced something new, so we should probably think deeper about this, should we not?
We should.
I see. We will. Suisun points off in this direction. This way, I think, is where we're heading next. This is going to bring up a new concept. We respect the world, correct? Is respect a concept you've learned before?
We respect ourselves.
Yes. He thinks about that. In fact, yeah. I don't think there's going to be any problems. He kind of steps up. Something you mentioned. Usually it's individuality which sparks these conflicts. But simply respect everything within there as you would respect yourself, and I think everything will go fine. But first, we have another one of those long roads ahead of us. I hope you're ready. Hopefully we can all stay close this time. So, charting your path forward again, we head with a little more knowledge deeper into this place. One more destination lies ahead of us. This is the final place. The place where we who are great and famous wishes to take us. this is... It's supposed to be a place where a god lies. We are familiar with gods. After all, the aspect of ourselves that is our mother was a god in her own right. And beyond that, she also mentioned, and we also came to the conclusion that... What was it again? What was our conclusion about gods?
Our conclusion of gods is that if the aspect of a god exists, then it is an aspect of ourself.
Yes.
And through
Yes.
that logic, God is an aspect of us.
Absolutely. A concept like that will bring you some ways deep into this wood once you reach that destination. But first, we've got another hard travel ahead of us. Wow. We're gonna need to roll to do again. Okay, Suisen makes it. Suisen's been rolling great. How about you? Do you wanna use a tool?
It's time.
Oh.
Yeah, to use a tool.
Okay, good. Yeah. So I'm gonna use a tool. We can re-roll that 6 on that dice because the other ones are kind of low, and then we can re-roll the audiences. So that becomes a 4, which lowers that DC to 20. So now you make a roll. Just try to get You need like a 10. Oh, nice. So, okay. Before we finish this travel, Susan's gonna drink some water because squishy boy.
We too.
You too? Drink some water. Do it. So roll a DC. Okay, so you're back up to full, which is good. We're about to take some damage. We used our tool, so we're back. We're gonna use our last resource, but luckily we'll be getting to our destination just in time with only 3 water to spare. And I guess since we have 3 water to spare, we'll drink the rest of it before, So let me do some damage first. First to Suisen. 10. Okay. And 6. Susan's getting his ass beat. So Suisen's going to drink 2 water now. See what happens. 10 health. Okay, back up to 14. And you took and went down there again. All right. So that I'll lower. Is your health accurate now, or?
Yeah.
You boosted back up to 30 and then took 6 damage. You're at 24.
Yeah, 24.
Would you like to use our last water?
Let's drink this agua.
Let's drink it. Drink it. I drink it. Okay. You're back up to 28. Nice. We're getting good health during the final bit. So with all of that, we finished up, used our resources, getting to the very end, carried to that final moment by the hospitality of that village. The hospitality of those that are not connected to us. And from there, beyond our mountain pass, within this fold of the earth, past the dangers and peace of this strange land, we have found our destination at last. Moving deeper. Those that reside here have already learned of our presence. So we head deeper in. We find ourselves here as we all stand and watch over this area. We see a number of things ahead of us now. And at the very, very top, you notice a great entity sits atop a throne. Grand, kind of large, and watching, gazing across at this landscape. It beckons you. You can feel it as Suisen stands. And I suppose we should go in.
We are excited to be reunited with this aspect of ourself.
I'm sure it'll be a good experience. Well then. We move on up, and you notice more of these people around, and some more frogs resting on these pedestals. some within the lakes, the water, all gazing at this central area. In a way, you know this is a conference chamber. At least that's a concept that was left to you by the Secret Keeper. And all the same, Susan steps up as well, moves off to the side, kind of looks as well, gazing up, kind of does a very, very deep bow, deeper than he's given to anyone else before. A pleasure. I am the great Daisuisen, and this is the audience. The figure looks across, silently. Once more, a figure that will not communicate with language. Perhaps this one does understand it, but does not speak. You feel a presence run across this area. This one... What is it you feel, I mean? You... Roll a die for me. Okay. Let me just roll this really quick. Okay. You look up at this thing, and as you were feeling many different feelings throughout this entire time, communication with others, you spoke of what it is like to communicate in a world of we. This is an individual known as I, and this one speaks with a glare, a presence. No words emerge from their mouth. All the same, you feel it. You feel that feeling emerge within you all the same. You finally feel what your friend in the corner felt all those times on your meeting. Fear, respect, understanding, and worry as you look up at this aspect of yourself. This isn't an aspect of yourself. At least that concept starts to take root all the same. With simply a glare, simply staring at this thing, you can feel how other it is. We should probably talk about this experience, this feeling.
This is not us.
This is not us. Much like Mother was not us, though she was an aspect of us, but this one feels different. Simply looking at this is the toad. This is the toad god.
This is less of a barrier and more of a gap.
Yeah. A barrier can be broken through. A gap cannot be crossed. This is...
But what is something separate from the world?
What is? A secret?
A god?
A god?
Are gods not aspects of ourselves?
We have seen one who we could consider, yet this challenges that. We feel staring up, awe, as we look up at this thing. Sitting on the rock, looking down, speaking without words, existing without language, much like the followers here. And as you consider that, you looked across all of these as well as you realized language does not exist here. And yet, thought does. The ability to think, cogitate without language. This is not foreign to you, though. This is how many of the beings that existed behind you are. Except this is some form of life that exists beyond what you are. And it has gifted this to others. This is something foreign. Finally, you understand the word. A word you thought was pointless, but now you can see it.
This is another world.
This is another world. Daisuisen, standing at the side, is silent. There's nothing he can add here right now. This is a conversation solely, well, with yourself, you suppose. That's right. In this moment, the only thing that exists here is... The only thing... Language has been taken away from you and others. Or the barriers that exist between all of you have been spread up around. This entity does not need you to be in touch with the world. That's it. You are not necessary for this thing. That's what you feel in your body. In your bodies. This is an entity from a different world. One that is separate from yours and will never be combined. As such, it still lives. And that means this separate world, you have to wonder, how many more worlds are like this? What constitutes this separate world? What exists in this that separates from us, from the world, from the land it stands on? Where does this awe come from? What do we think?
We must consider.
We must.
If different worlds exist, then why do we exist?
We exist to combine the world. I don't understand what you're saying.
Your. Why your?
We're the world. If you do not feel as one with the world, then why are you in this world?
But this is not an aspect of us.
Then
this
what
is not part of me.
Then what's the point?
What is the point?
Audience, you feel a voice fall silent in your head. You are alone now. All of you. A barrier has been constructed around the world. You have seen what lies beyond, and now you only have yourself.
We are alone.
That you are. I would
Then
like
why?
you to roll the die really quick.
Then why are we here?
All right. You're going to take 30 damage as you take 30 damage because that's a crit. 15 doubled twice, 30. You're going to take a wound. Except this time you cannot send this wound to one of your others.
No.
I'm going to ask you now. You have 3 attributes. Within you lies we of statue, we of mind, and we of body. Which will you wound?
We of statue.
Oh no. Oh, hang on. As you stand there, you are alone. And in that moment, you feel something shift out, drifting, holding itself there. This is you. You see it having drifted away from you at this point. Your eyes drift forward, and for a moment, thoughts cease as this is pulled out. Suisun steps up and he looks concerned. He sees this form leaving, and for a moment he wonders if what conclusion did they make? What conclusion did you make? What conclusion are you making now? What is running through your heads? Finally, you've seen your life standing in front of you, this spirit floating ahead.
This is how we end.
That is the end. That's the end of you. That's what separated. You look.
And there will be worlds after us.
There will. There will be many. Suisun steps up. That one speaks up to you. And with that, he points. You catch a finger. And he points at the core spirit hanging above you. Can you see it? What is left of this collection stares, and you look up at this thing, and there's something else you see too. A voice left you. You are alone. I want you to roll to die for me with your leftover stats. This is an important one.
I need to wound some yellow, right?
Yes,
Yep.
wound yellow, yeah. All right. So, all right. Now then, you've rolled equal here, and you selected blue.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Okay. In which case, as you stare up, you feel something. In this moment, you are left without comfort of your body, of the world, but instead, you stare upward. Once more, as I will describe, the statue is currently wounded. Yet hanging up there, all of the forms which share some of this intelligence. The other parts of you, the other parts of we, are staring upwards. They still look. Still so much of your intelligence held, even though the statue, the birth point, the resting mark of your unity is hanging in the air. It is in that moment that you fully realize you are alone. But there was someone who was with you. Someone who was right there by your side all along. A voice that spoke of we together with you throughout this way. A voice that no longer speaks to you now, replaced by the cold reality in front of you. But it still hangs there, and it has not abandoned you yet. You still feel some of that desire. As you mentioned previously, that which existed in the eye. The queen which rests now on your body, on your stone, having lost and slowly returning. That was an eye, but that's how this thing started. It connected to that singular desire, that singular form in front of it. But over time, it evolved beyond that point. And it began listening to the prayers of many folks, many individuals, many animals, many souls. You became a we of your own will. And similarly, we have never been alone. You feel that. It recollects with you. As you stare up, face to face, you look directly at your very first friend. You are held there momentarily. So over time, everything feels to recollect to each other. All begins momentarily, receding within. The blessings of the Toad God immediately being granted out, having watched you, seen you and gazed upon your soul with a single moment made a call. And as this thing removed, it gave a blessing to a single frog within your mouth. A single frog now blessed with an eternity, or at least a decent amount of time. Longevity. So long as that frog remains, it is like a heart, and we shall always be here together. And with that, I'm going to unwound your yellow now, as the statue returns to you in this moment, as the core spirit itself sinks within you once again. Suisen notices the many forms beginning to move once more, along with the entirety of you, as he stares across. Welcome back. How are we feeling?
We are confused.
We are also confused. We don't have an answer.
We are alone, but together.
We are. it seems. Suisun looks across. It seems as though you've got that longevity. And he turns his attention over, looking back there. He points the attention back to the side as you noticed two forms that were apparent here at all this time are once more standing close together. They are... It's the humans. Despite everything, it seems as though when your laps fell, they returned, having fallen to the floor themselves. Susan goes over to inspect them, finds the bunch, and then kind of gets down to a bow. If I may ask for one more thing, please, in all your wisdom, would you grant these two the peace of forgetting? You have granted us your longevity. I would hope and pray that you would grant us, similarly, the fleetingness of this world. Susan's going to entreat the god. Oh. All right, Susan, let's fucking
You rolling
see.
good today.
Rolling good today. You're gonna... Wow, okay, Susan. So, the toad standing upon that titled rock, the throne of his domain, Frog's throne, looks down, and with a blink of the eyes, something unseen happens, but all the same, Suisun breathes a sigh of relief. Thank you. He moves to the side, helps trying to collect these two, still unconscious for the moment, granted asleep momentarily till after this place. He moves over, kind of holds either one, kind of picking up by the arms, a bit struggling on his end. Audience. I remember we asked each other questions at the beginning. I think the best thing about a world of we is that we'll never be alone. What do you think about a world of I?
We have experienced a world of I.
Mm-hmm.
It is lonely and terrifying. However, fear breeds creativity and need. So, in a world of I, truly wondrous things can happen.
He kind of looks over. He beams at you with a nice smile. Excellent. I think we both passed the test. At least the great toad god thinks so. So let's get out of here before maybe they change their mind. Moving
We
off.
should. However,
Hmm?
we have one question for you.
Yeah.
If the one known as Suisun is not of us, who are you to us?
He stops.
Who are we to you?
He thinks about that. Well, as I've said, we are of course friends. I may be a wanderer in the night, which I fear greatly. I may not see you again. All the same, I exist as one whose barrier you can cross any day you please. May I assume the same?
Yes. Which is why I'd like to grant you something.
Huh? He kind of looks. Grant me something?
In this journey that you have granted us, we have experienced the world of one.
Mm-hmm.
You, who are afraid of the dark, has the ability to understand things outside of yourself.
Yeah.
But imagine if you could experience it for yourself.
He stops and looks across, and once more, with a sad expression on his face, yet at the same time, tinged with gratefulness. Thank you. I wish I could. I'm afraid I don't think we'd be able to connect right now. But
What is that?
he kind of raises up an arm of his own. I'm afraid I'm already connected to something else. But one day, he stops. One day, both of us will find our own paths. And when that day comes, he turns back to you. I'll find you. And then I'll experience the world of we. If you'll grant it to me.
We understand. What is it that roots you somewhere else?
Just a dumb traveler like me. I'll get on to it more on the way back. But for now, let's get out of here. He starts moving with you, starting to head on his way out. And as we go, we walk and we consider the lessons we have learned. And now, we have a question for ourselves. Jay, would you deposit the chat poll now? Brennan, you should probably go vote there too if you can.
Oh,
I take us out as we travel slowly out of this place. A single quandary on our mind. Which world deserves to be this world? The world of we, the world of one, or the world of all? As we slowly leave. Actually, I'm keeping that one running. That one keeps to stay running. That gets to keep going. We keep the train going, guys. As time continues moving forward, you walk, see the many crossing leaves, the crossing way the streams fold. You walk with Suisen, your friend, moving across with all that you've walked with. Having met your first and met your recent, you make your way across this world. And as you slowly depart, you find yourself along the paths. Soon, traveling back in different areas, you would find yourself returning back to your home, back to that mountain meeting point once again. As you would assemble with yourself, holding and waiting for all things in the world to reveal themselves to you, to see more of this world that is granted to you, the world you can see. You stand with these four parts of yourself, and then the many within the statue. And somewhere else in the world, across the way, someone brings someone home. Running across, looking. Mom?
My baby! Oh, she hugs him.
They both embrace. Ida beginning to cry, confused more than anything. The man on the side, moving across, kind of sits down, looks over. I'm sorry, I doubted you. He kind of moves across. It's okay, just try to be less violent next time. He moves down, leaving this family behind as he begins to leave. And in that moment, we have a question that has been answered. Which world deserves to be this world? Well, amongst all who accumulate, I can proudly say that 100% of our viewers agree that voted that the world of all is the world that has been left to us. We are in agreement here. Those of us individually, those of us separate, all see this world as our world. And with that, I call this session to an end.
Or do you?
Oh.
Or do you, Christian?
Or do I?
Yeah.
What? Oh?
I said I would go all out this once.
Oh? Oh?
I'm not finished with you.
Oh no! Not again! What?
What?
Time
Oh.
would pass, and Suisen would find himself slumbering, as he so often does, on his travels. And he'll be transported to a dream with this journey fresh on his mind. His thoughts are cluttered with the lessons that he learned, the things that he experienced, the world of we, the world of I, the world of all. And he finds himself somewhere else.
Am I supposed to be in a game right now?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, Jake, give
Yeah.
him a game.
Boy. All right. All right. We're doing this again. God damn it.
I'm not finished with you.
Oh, shit. Here we go again. Here we go again. Oh, my God. Holy shit. I need to refresh. I can't hear the music. Oh, my God. Chat can't see this yet.
Yeah,
but,
no,
fuck.
yeah, get ready for it.
Oh,
Let me know when you're in and good, chat. I'll
no.
you'll be able to see along with Christian.
All right. I'm here.
Okay. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, chat. Take a look.
Uh,
All right, you should be the ant here.
oh, I'm not, but God.
Jay, can you make him the ant, please?
I'll enable him to be the ant. There we go.
I'm the ant now.
You
What's
are the
going
ant.
on?
You find yourself in a world that's clouded, fractured, as if seen by 1,000 eyes. Although you're unable to see, you feel a strange sense of calm. What do you do?
Oh, we're calm here. Have we been calm before? Have I been calm before?
Have you been calm before, you ask yourself? Are your normal nights of sleep restless?
I don't know, per se. They might be. I've been traveling so long, connected with so many, so surely they must have been... I think I've got it. I know why. Because there's no one else here right now. I'm alone with this one, I think. Am I?
You are. And as you focus on the world that you can see, everything kind of comes into picture. And the world becomes more clear.
Oh. We're in a field. We're amongst... There's ants here like me. Is this my field? Was this the
This
field
is
I
your
was
field.
looking for?
This is the field that you've always been looking for. The field of your mind. What does this mean to you?
To me, fields were always spots where I was supposed to be safe, where I would find community, where I would be home. These three were always true in the field I looked for, regardless of where it was. I almost felt it without thinking. I never thought to look for a field in any way. I simply knew when I found it. Just as I knew the moment I looked upon this field that this was mine. Though, this language is new. Being able to word things is new. I don't know if it's helping me or not.
The words echo in your brain, almost from a distant life. What are you to us? What
am
are
I?
you to us?
Who is us?
Who is us? That's a great question. Who are we?
We are the world, aren't we? Or is that not true anymore? the world is all, so where does that leave us? You. Us? I realize, I get it now. Just like where I was born, crawling out of that anthill. I was born amidst the dirt, but I must have left. In this world of all, I am no longer one of us, and thus now, simply by the merit of being, I am not enough. I must be something now.
You must be something.
Why?
But what are you?
Why do I have to be anything?
Ah, now you're asking the right questions. In this world where you crawled from the dirt, where you've discovered yourself in all of your surroundings and how you interact with it. Why must you be something else?
There is no reason.
Then why do you do what you do?
I don't need a reason to be myself. I don't need a reason to exist. These things are all true. But while all of that can be the case, I want something. And that is why I must be myself. I want a field that I can call home. I want a field that makes me safe. I want a field that I can be friends and hold many, be a community. I do not want to be alone in my field.
And what of the aspect of ourself that tells this story?
The aspect of ourself that tells this story?
The you that is a piece on this board.
Me.
The you that is controlling the piece on this board.
Ah, me. Well, I've guided this path the whole time. I have seen this one move. I even know this one briefly. My time with either has been short. All the same, I suppose for me, I simply want to see what they find for themselves.
Aspects of yourself.
Yes, aspects of myself all the same. Pieces of me that can only exist by taking a part of myself and putting it outward. They are valuable, they should be cherished. And perhaps, despite only being an aspect of myself, I hope they can come into themselves in a way that I can't.
So then who are we?
Well, I suppose all of us together are one big story in progress, and we are the characters within it. Just like characters that you would find in letters and writing, language. Characters are essential to human thought and soul, whether they guide us via leather or they form the shapes of man.
And in this moment, you understand the world. You understand the world you've made. And more importantly, you begin to understand the world as it exists without barriers. Many minds join together in an effort to tell one story. That is our purpose.
God.
And that's the end of the session for real.
Oh, man. A story for all of us.
Damn, though.
That's fucking cool. Man, get us... Oh.
What an effective way to drive home the idea.
Oh. I mean... Oh, man.
Oh,
That's
God.
great. Holy
Okay.
shit. Get us in that fan art. I'm just gonna vibe to this track.
Yeah.
Did I surprise you?
You did surprise me, yes.
Get me some music rolling in the Daisuisen Roll20.
That we're going back there. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I need that for fan art, so we're not doing this
That's
into
true.
the void of space, though that would
That's
be fitting
true.
at this point.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We just start playing the wall, man.
In this episode, Jimo
Alright.
reaches through the screen
you.
and gives you a hand on your shoulder.
Probably
Let me make
playing
sure-
Echo. You're probably playing echoes at this point.
Yeah. Let me make sure everything's good on my front.
I'm gonna get the theme playing again.
Okay, thank you.
I'll play the
Put
full
that
one.
over there. And
Oh,
that, yeah.
you get the full theme on the way out, Brennan.
The full theme.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
That's why you asked for the ant.
I believe
Yeah.
yes, we have fan art. This is this Imgur is made by Lester 2020. I can't hear the music playing.
I'll start it again.
Yeah, start it again.
How about
It's probably my fault. Hold on, my Firefox is doing its usual. Let me refresh. Restart it again briefly.
now?
Oh no, it sent me back to hell mode. Why did it do that? Fine. We're listening to the Nier theme. I don't care. Oh boy. Yeah.
I'll see you enlisted Aloha's help for this one.
And mine.
Oh, and
Yes.
nice.
No.
Yes, I needed help.
Yes.
You did great, all of you.
so-
that was fantastic.
First of all, we've got an image edit from Monichi of our merry little band here. Hold on, I should probably screen share this to you.
Probably.
Let me find this BRB Discord, pop it open, screen share, bada boom. There you go.
Danke.
Ah, we've been given eyes.
Yes,
We've been given eyes. Let us see what
eyes.
the art is received for us.
Okay. I can no longer see chat, so see a chat.
Okay.
Okay. So there you go. Here's fan art.
All
There
right.
you go.
Ah, wonderful.
Yes. First from
basically-
Monichi, we
That's
have
basically what it was.
Yeah.
we have the entirety of the session. Thank you so much. Then from Polaris, we've got part 3 of the collection of poems of Higashi Tokugawa, the great the poet of the Great Suisen.
These are great.
Please go read them. They're excellent. Then from Cookout Trash Bin, we have
We who are stupid.
We are stupid. Tough are becoming smart.
from Cookout Trash Bin.
Oh, we are a little sus.
Yes.
We're a little sus. Little suey sus. Damn it, I said it. Anyways.
Pizza party.
The bill's
All
on
right,
you.
I'm playing the pizza party.
Hey, Christian, there's one more thing to consider before we get to the end of this fan art. I don't believe I've been given the title card for next time.
Oh, okay. I'll send that to you now.
Yeah, so everyone just hold on this wonderful picture of a snake for a second.
Oh, let's.
Thank
You have to
you.
read. Read it.
Here you
Is dangerous and noodle-shaped. His fashionable scarf. His neck has a boopable snoot.
I love that
Beautiful.
snake so much. It's my favorite of the creatures.
I knew the frog would come in and clutch at the
love
end.
the frog.
Yeah, the frog came in clutch.
Okay, let me go over here. Make sure this is good. I'm putting us to BRB, so you absolutely cannot have this spoiled for you.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, I'm back in the Daisuisen roll 20 if you have a music sting to go with this.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're not, but I do have music playing.
Let's see. There we go. BRB. Okay. Oh.
I can play a different track.
Yeah. Yeah, do that.
Okay.
There you go.
How's that? Excellent.
Okay. So,
So,
back to fan art. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. Quick
Yay!
little detour. We had to fix that up at the last second. Okay, from Agent J Wall, the aspect of the snake.
yeah.
And then finally,
it.
last but not least, from Lester 2020, we have this picture of the audience.
A gigantic collection of friends.
Ah,
Wait,
friends.
wait.
I like the little ant holding it.
It's just like, wait.
And with that,
That calls us to a close for fan art.
Oh, God. This was a great session. I'm super happy with it. I'm really glad everyone
Yes,
came
this
out.
is so much fun.
We who are consuming food will stop for a moment so that we can narrate the finale. So, with the end of fan art, I thus call an end to this. And as that happens, we can now look forward to next time on Daisuisen as deep over near the coasts, with water dripping across the city, the town of Ocean Veins holds a great ceremony for an upcoming event. Yet the very star of the show, the peacock who stands upon the stage, sits and watches, dived deep into the water. Next time on Daisuisen.